This is Atomic Shinobi, and today I'm going to narrate first part of What If Kid Naruto found two summoning contracts. If you enjoy this video, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And for more exclusive and spicy content, follow me on Patreon. Link is in the description below. Now, wasting no more time, let's start the story.
One of the most tranquil and powerful ninja villages was Konohagakure. Was someone fleeing from a sizable crowd as the sun shone? Naruto was sprinting like a crazy person through the streets. He was being pursued by a group of ninja and civilians behind him. Additionally, it was clear from the weapons they carried that their intentions were not good. Normally, one would wonder why this mob was pursuing a child who was only 5 years old as if he were the plague. This child was the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox, Kyuubi no Kitsune, who had attacked Konoha and killed many of the village's residents, including Konoha's Yellow Flash, Minato Namikaze, 4th Hokage, the best Hokage Konoha had ever had. As a result, some believed that poor Naruto was the demon and chose to exact revenge on him. Naruto was now difficult to capture. The child had unusual speed and endurance from being chased so much, he managed to outrun the village elites, known as Anbu. Nevertheless, he was unsuccessful in dealing with this mob, which was composed of some Byakugan and Sharingan users. As you can see, there are two prominent clans that are frequently praised: the Hyugas and the Uchihas. Both of them received recognition for their Ijutsus. Byakugan for the Hyugas and Sharingan for the Uchihas. Byakugan gave the user 180-degree vision, including the ability to see past his own skull. It also gave him unparalleled accuracy in his long-range vision. It made the Tenketsus and chakra passages visible. Tenketsus were locations on the chakra paths that, if disturbed, could result in a person receiving an augment or having their chakra cut. Chakra pathways could be seen with Sharingan, but not the Tenketsus. Rather, it made room for a photographic memory. All non-Kake Genkai techniques could be copied by a Sharingan user thanks to these two features, which made the Sharingan a copy I. Higher Sharingan levels also made it possible for the user to anticipate their opponent's next move, giving them an advantage in combat. Lastly, it made it possible to use Genjutsu simply by focusing on the enemy's eyes, making it an awful method. Thus, it was understandable why Naruto was struggling to escape these thugs. No fair, a dead end, he exclaimed as he turned to the right. When a terrified Naruto turned to face the only exit from that alley, he discovered that the mob had already arrived. The poor child's terrified gaze made them smile. "Time to pay for what you did, demon." Naruto took a step back. "What did I ever do to you? I don't know what you are talking about. Don't try to fool us. We know that this is all just your acting. You don't trick us, Kyuubi." An ANBU that was supposed to protect Naruto was seen in the distance, donning a dog mask. However, he allowed the mob to attack Naruto as they pleased. "Monster, this is for what you did to Sensei." He was beaten up by the mob. It didn't matter if you used sticks or just your fists. Then one of them approached and began using a kunai to cut Naruto. Naruto passed out from the excruciating pain. Half of the mob collapsed just as they were about to deal with him. It was replaced by a lone Anbu with a weasel mask. His Sharingan was fully developed and active as he gazed at the throng in front of him. "You all are scum. I must eliminate all of you." Itachi Uchiha was one of the village's most formidable ninja, so even the group's shinobi had no chance. He was already the captain of an Anbu team and was a unique prodigy. So they were all dead in a few minutes. When Itachi grabbed Naruto, he was shocked to see that the wounds were being healed by red chakra. Is he being healed by Kyuubi? However, Itachi had to save Naruto first, so he couldn't consider that at this time. He was about to head to the hospital when he realized that there had been previous attempts on his life there. Sarutobi is Naruto's only hope, so I must go there. In the mindscape of Naruto. When Naruto awoke, he was in what appeared to be a sewer. As he looked around in search of something, he heard someone say, "Ha, you are awakened. Come, young Naruto, we have much to talk." Naruto approached the voice and discovered a massive cage. Then he noticed two crimson eyes staring at him from the opposite side. "Do you know who I am, Naruto?" Kyuubi. I? Inquired a startled and terrified Naruto. "Yes, and calm down, I'm not going to harm you. I'm the only reason you are still alive anyway." "But you destroyed the village. Why would you help me? And why are you on a cage? Where are we anyway?" Kyuubi was growing irritated with all of his inquiries. "God, do you have to speak that loudly, kid? And stop asking so many questions and maybe I'll answer you." Naruto fell silent. Kyuubi let out a sigh. "Good, now about your questions. We are in your mind, and before you ask, I'm here because your 4th Hokage put me here." "Impossible, he killed you." Kyuubi gave him a look. "No, idiot. If that was the case, you would be dead too. Anyway, he didn't kill me because he was unable to. Instead, he was able to seal me in you. That is why I am here and why I am in this cage. And since I'm sealed in you, I would die if you died. I don't want that yet. Now, on to the other matters. I want to make a deal with you. Wait. What about why you attacked the village? And this proposition of yours, how'd I know I can trust you? God, not this again. Listen, hear the deal and then you can ask your questions, child. Naruto immediately stopped talking. Good. Now the thing is, I don't want a weak host. That would be insulting. So I'm offering my teachings so you can become stronger and a summoning contract of the Fox clan. All I ask is when you are strong enough, you kill a certain someone for me, as part of my revenge. Now you can ask questions. Naruto paused to reflect. Why do you want me to kill this person? And this seems a lot for me but little to you, don't you think? Those are good questions, kid. Now listen here, by making you stronger I'm making myself feared, so that is a win-win situation for both of us. Second, that man was the reason why I attacked Konoha anyway. You see, this man is called Madara Uchiha. He had developed a new level of Sharingan and that made him more powerful than I thought. It gave him the power to control me. He made me attack Konoha. He is the reason I am in this jail. You help me kill him, and I'll be forever in your debt. After giving it some thought, Naruto replied, Deal. Kyuubi continued, Since you are having the opportunity, I'll have you know that foxes have a more natural affinity with fire and wind, though there are some that dominate the kitsune arts. A set of magic powers and techniques that are very deadly. Now you have to wake up, the old monkey wants to speak with you. In the special infirmary. When Naruto awoke, he was in a white room with a disinfectant odor. Medical facility. Sarutobi was smiling at him from a chair at his side. Good to have you back, Naruto. Weasel was worried. Itachi saved me, I got to thank him for that. This surprised Sarutobi a little. How did you know that it was Itachi? He is kind to me even after Anbu time. I know the identity of all the Anbu that helped me. There is Itachi, there is Yugo and her team, and there is this guy named Yumaki. Sarutobi's eyes narrowed after that. What about a man named Kakashi? Gray hair defying gravity. Reading smut. Wears a mask even when he is off duty. That guy never helped me before, he helped the mobs catch me faster. Sarutobi's eyes grew gloomy. He does, huh? I'll deal with him later. Naruto, tell me, is there something I should know? If I say I made a deal with Kyuubi, Naruto thought, old man will try to do something about it. His response was, no, why? Perhaps he hasn't spoken to Kyuubi yet. Hopefully so. Oh nothing, Naruto. The doctors say you should be ready to go. After a few minutes, Naruto was attempting to avoid drawing attention to himself as he moved through the streets. A couple of children were attempting to kill a serpent when he turned right in a street. The serpent had some patterns on her body and was green in color. Her head was adorned with 2 lotus blossoms, which caught my attention after seeing Child Viper from The Secrets of the Furious 5. Naruto yelled, hey, stop that, and drove the snake away. One of them declared, we are going to kill that snake. Father said snakes are evil. Naruto gave them a look. This is a serpent, not a snake. Learn the difference. How about we kick your ass, then the serpents? Naruto surveyed his surroundings. He had no chance against the 7 children. Naruto then took hold of the snake and fled. There in the forest. He paused his run and turned around. Those children were long gone. Then he set the snake down. Go away, they can still find you here. After glancing at him, the serpent bowed. Thank you for saving me. Naruto gave a startled jump. You talk? Yes, I belong to the serpent summoning clan. I came here looking for some flowers. I always liked the human world's flowers. But those kids tried to kill me, and you saved me. It was nothing, really. Still, I would like to give you something. I know, how about I let you take the trial of the serpent? If you pass, you can get the serpent's summoning contract and sign it. But I'm going to receive a summoning contract already. Can I have 2? The serpent gave him a serious look as she looked at him. Is it the snake contract? No, the fox's. The snake grinned. Then there is no problem, just stay there. Symbols appeared on the ground as the serpent began chanting. After that, she yelled, summoning jutsu, the 3 judges. The place was filled with smoke after a puff. 3 serpents then emerged. The first one had dark patterns on his skin that resembled flames, and he was red with green eyes. The second one had green, poisonous symbols all over his skin, and he was black with red eyes. The final one had dark eyes, was green, and had claw-like marks all over him. They were all 3 as big as Naruto and as tall as a horse. By the order of the serpents, we are the three judges, the trio declared collectively. The first snake declared, I'm Rhathamontes, judge of pain, master of the burning fang. The second one said, I'm Iacos, judge of fear, master of the poison of nightmares. The final one said, and I'm Minos, judge of despair, master of the stare of broken will. The trio gazed at Naruto and declared, it is time for the trial of the serpent. With a hint of fear, poor Naruto questioned, what do I do now, and what is this trial? As the Iacos displayed a golden cup on his tail, the Rhathamontes said, do not be alarmed, child. All we need is for you to fill this cup. And fill it with a bit of your blood. Then, we will drink your blood and see your past. We will judge your life and then you are going to trial. Iacos went on. Should you fail one of us? The minnows were finished. You shall face our most prized weapons. If it was Rhathamontes, the burning fang which gives you the worst painful experience you will ever feel. If it is Iacos, the poison of nightmares which will turn you into the biggest coward, forced to live in eternal fear. And if it is me, you will face the stare of broken will, forever condemned to live in despair. Are you ready, Naruto? Naruto heard a voice in his head saying, don't, this is a golden opportunity. Just as he was about to back off and say no, take it, child. Kyuubi, I had no idea that we could converse in my head. You couldn't, so I made the mental connection to assist you in training in similar circumstances. You will definitely pass if you accept it. Naruto chose to heed Kyuubi's counsel. Then he revealed his hand, and since he had no knife, he bit himself, spilling blood onto the cup. The three serpents each drank their portion after it had had enough for the test. When they did, their expressions were a mask of anger. Then, once more, they spoke as one. It is time for the trial. Rhathamontes took the lead. Your pain knows no boundary. Whether physical or psychological, you have suffered in both ends far too much. I deem you worthy. Next was Iacos. You have faced a fear that you could not. That fear made you an everlasting speed demon, making you stronger. You evolved from your fear. I deem you worthy. Minos was last. Your despair is far too much to describe. I fear that I never saw such life before, and yet you keep going sane. I deem you worthy. A massive scroll materialized on the floor as the three said, by the power invested on us, we now give you permission to sign our contract and to ask 3 questions right now. Okay, first question, if I want, can I summon you 3 to battle? Rhathamontes took the lead. You may, and we will assist you. Not only are we the 3 judges, our powers and techniques make us a formidable ally. However, you should only call us as last resort. We are not for mundane duties. You have 2 questions left. Naruto paused to reflect. If I wished, could a serpent stay here indefinitely? Iacos responded, yes, but only one. You would have to talk with the boss of the snakes and ask for that to happen to one serpent. This one would be called your summon guardian, and even if she lost all its chakra, it would remain in this realm unless you say otherwise. This happens with all contracts. You have 1 question left. I already asked this to that serpent, but can I have more than 1 contract? Was Naruto's frightened response. Minos was last. Yes, but only 2. For that to happen, you would have to sign 1 contract with blood from one hand and the other form blood of the other hand. Then, when summoning, you use the hand which you took the blood from to summon the creature from that contract. We must go now. Farewell, Naruto. The 3 then vanished, leaving Naruto with an enormous scroll and a happy little snake. You did it. You did is, finally we have a summoner. Could you stop cheering and help me sign this? And what is your name, by the way? I was named after another slithering creature. I'm Viper, at your service. Now, to sign this you must write your name in blood from one of the hands and then put a handprint with your blood as well. This is how you sign any contract. Naruto signed as instructed and nodded. Now what? He asked Viper. Well, you should summon the boss, but that could be complicated, so I'll do something else. Viper started chanting once more before Naruto could intervene, and fresh symbols started to appear on the ground. Then she muttered, reverse summoning jutsu. Naruto had the sensation of being lifted off the ground and transported to a different location. In the forest of snakes. Naruto landed on a soft surface that he recognized as grass. He was in the forest when he looked up. Many serpents were staring at him as he looked around, pointing and yelling, isn't that our new summoner? Then a massive, enormous serpent materialized. Imagine the size of Orochimaru's 8-headed technique. He was the father of Viper in the movie mentioned above. He was brown with blue eyes and a white mustache that hung down on his side. I heard about you, Naruto. I am Shittung, boss summon of the serpents. You impressed the judges, which is a hard thing. But I wasn't expecting you this early here. Then, Whispering in her father's ear, Viper approached his head. The elderly snake gave a nod and replied. Very well, I understand your reasons, Viper, but you made Naruto take a big risk with the trails. I'm glad everything went all right. Naruto faced the enormous serpent. Can I ask something? Of course, child. Can you tell me more about the serpent contract, and can you make Viper my summon guardian? The request caught Shitong off guard. Don't you wish another serpent? She is still young? Yes, but that is why I want her, because I want a close friend that may grow up with me as I go. If we do that, we will work better together. After giving this some thought, Shitong nodded. Very well. The serpents are a bit like the snakes in terms of techniques we allow our summoner to have. With the exception of, while snakes can swallow objects and keep them in their stomachs, we can't. But we do have an advantage. We can use elemental techniques, being our elements earth, water and thunder. After giving a nod, Naruto stood up. I must go now, time to sign yet another contract. Which contract it is, Naruto? Shitong couldn't help but inquire. The foxes. Ah, yes. They were old allies of ours. There will be no problem then. Shitong's statement pleased Naruto. He waved goodbye and returned to his everyday life. In the world of humans, he landed face first on the floor once more and then got up off the ground. All right, Kyuubi, I'm prepared. All right. A scroll will materialize out of thin air. Naruto witnessed a massive scroll materialize out of thin air as he was saying that. Grabbing it with his left hand, he performed the same motion as he had with the previous scroll. Then he asked Kyuubi, now, how do I summon? Simply follow these hand signals, it's simple. Kyuubi then demonstrated the hand signals to him, saying, summoning jutsu. While hitting the floor with the hand of the creature you wish to summon. You get to know the clan's names as you get to know them, so if you want a particular summon, you can simply repeat the previous action while adding the name of the desired summon at the end. Is that correct? I believe that I needed to recite a chant similar to Viper's. No, because they are incapable of having signs, serpents must do it. It's different for you. All right, thanks. Summoning jutsu is what Naruto then attempted. A tiny red fox materialized in front of Naruto, and there was a puff of smoke. I had higher expectations. I wasn't. You still need to practice because you're still young. You did incredibly well for a novice. Regards. Then Naruto turned to face the young fox on the ground. Hey, what is your name? Hikari, sir. You must be my father's host. I will follow what you tell me to. Kyuubi, hello? Is she able to? I knew you would want her to be your summon guardian, and she was already taken care of. Naruto grinned. From now on, things were going to be fantastic. Naruto has successfully completed several challenging years of rigorous training under Kyuubi's tutelage. He would return home each day, frequently in a row, looking as though someone had attempted his murder. He had once been asked by Ayame why he appeared to be dead. My teacher is a slave driver. Unfortunately, some people who were listening to the conversation came to argue with Sarutobi about it, so that got to the wrong people. The old man didn't give their complaints much thought, but he was surprised to learn that Naruto had a teacher, and despite his best efforts, he was never able to identify the person. The phrase, I'm my own teacher, old man, doesn't even come from Naruto himself. Sarutobi even dispatched Anbu to observe Naruto's training. Reliable Anbu, of course. But one of Kyuubi's first teachings was how to completely conceal your presence. Naruto quickly figured out how to conceal both his scent and his chakra. He discovered how to become invisible in the middle of the crowd and walk in total silence. Even those nearby were unaware of his presence because of how well he could blend in. Naturally, Kyuubi was unable to teach him a lot of jutsu. For someone as young as Naruto, Kyuubi's jutsus were simply too destructive. In the end, Kyuubi only taught Naruto one jutsu. Fire style, Fire Fox Jutsu. This jutsu created a fire-based fox whose sole purpose was to eliminate the adversary. The attack's strength, which is solely dependent on the quantity of fire foxes generated, is now its drawback. The reason for this is that these fire foxes were intelligent and would find the enemy as long as he was close to the caster. Otherwise, the fox fires would go out before they got there. He also learned the smart fire fist, a fox fighting style. A taijutsu that emphasized deceiving the adversary and increasing damage with a chakra flare on the hands. Getting the chakra control for it was really difficult, but Kyuubi assisted him with the tree walking exercise. Naturally, he also learned more about his summons. Hikari and Viper became good friends and tried to teach him everything they could about the summons. They were both happy to have a summoner. Flashback. Naruto said, so could you two tell me more about yourselves? Viper said, what do you want to know? Hikari's expression was one of curiosity. Well, how about we make some kind of introduction? Likes, dislike, hobbies and dreams. I go first. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My likes are you two for being my friends, Kyubi. Sensei, old man, Ichiraku Ramen, Itachi who is a brother to me and the Anbu that actually protect me. My dislikes are a one-eye pervert by the name of Kakashi, because the guy always helped the mobs find me, most of the Uchiha clan except Itachi, because they are a bunch of stuck-up assholes, the Hyuga clan, because they treat their own family like they are filth, the rest of the Anbu and the council, because they are always trying to get me killed. My hobbies are training, pranking, and run from mobs. My dream is to be the Hokage one day so that I will be respected by all. Naruto, if those are the reasons, you should quit that dream, Viper said quietly after meeting Naruto's eyes. If you want respect, you have to earn it. A position won't give it to you. Work hard and prove everyone is wrong about you. Naruto gave Viper a startled look. Then he gave her a smile. Thanks, Viper. Maybe you are right, but I'm still going to do it. I am going to be the Hokage, because if I can be it, then I will be proving them all wrong. Viper grinned. Hikari felt a little excluded, so she made the decision to go next. Okay, my name is Hikari. My likes are Naruto, because you are our summoner, Viper, because she is a good friend, Kyubi. Sama because he is a symbol of respect for the foxes, beefs and the kitsune arts. My dislikes are dogs, because they don't know their place, carrots, they taste awful, and anyone who threatens foxes. My hobbies are learning the kitsune arts, grooming my fur and make dogs look stupid. My dreams are to be the clan boss one day. Naruto nodded, but he was intrigued. What kitsune arts do you know? A little embarrassed, Hikari said, well, I only know the mystic arrow, and the flame wheel, I am still learning. Hey, that is more than the techniques I know. I only know the summoning jutsu. So, how do they work? The mystic arrow is a chakra-made arrow that flies from my mouth towards the opponent. The flame wheel is actually a tricky one, because there is no flame, it is actually raw chakra that flows around me as I run to strike an opponent. These are the bases for other moves in the kitsune arts. That is fantastic. Viper, how about you? Viper had been hearing the conversation patiently, a thing that was just her image. From the three, she was probably the most patient with someone. Of course, if she gets excited, there is a roller coaster and you are in for the ride. Well, Viper is my name. I like Naruto, same reason, Hikari, same reason, the serpent-style taijutsu, which I'm learning, my father Shitong, because he is my role model and I want to be like him. Sake, which is terrible and twists one's head, snakes, which damage our reputation, and anyone who threatens snakes are all things I detest. Learning about the three sides of serpent teaching and the background of the three judges are two of my interests. My goal is to become an expert in the three fields of the serpent. I will proudly wear the title if I ever rise to the position of clan boss. What are the three fields of the serpent? Naruto asked, squinting his eyes. Well, you might succeed if you use the three judges as models in their highly valued strategies. Wraithomantis is known as the Burning Fang, and when he strikes someone, his fire-covered fangs cause liquid fire to seep through their body. That is a ninjutsu and it is the first field of the serpent. Ayako's and the Poison of Nightmares is the second. This one, I believe, speaks for itself. Poison. Minnow's and the Stare of Broken Will is the final one. The final field is Genjutsu since it is an illusion that weakens the victim's will. A serpent must now be knowledgeable in at least one of these areas, but the higher ranks no longer possess them or have developed them. My father is the leader of the clan because he is an expert in every field. After giving this a nod, Naruto grinned and said, your families are so awesome. Viper and Hikari both laughed at his remark. End of flashback. After that, Naruto intensified his training to gain strength because he wanted to keep up with his two friends but was a little irritated by the lack of jutsu. Viper was the answer. Flashback. Viper was left to look after Naruto on one of those days when Hikari was absent because he was busy learning the kitsune arts. She noticed that he was running in circles at a remarkable pace for his age, but she could tell something was off because he was frowning more than usual, which he already did when he spoke to Kyubi on his head, which she found endearing, but now it seemed like something was bothering him. In order to speak with him, she got up and slithered across the grass toward him. Naruto was so accustomed to it that he didn't even flinch, and she looked at him worriedly as she began to move up his right leg to reach his right shoulder. What's the matter, Naruto? Naruto sighed and chose to tell the truth because he knew he had no chance of lying to the serpent and that she was too intelligent to fall for his tricks. Kyubi claimed that I couldn't use most of his jutsu because they were too strong. Only one was taught to me. Additionally, I'm not learning as much as you guys are. Viper was stunned, and Naruto was envious of both of them. Although only foxes were able to learn the kitsune arts, he was still able to pick up knowledge from the serpents. Naruto, I think it is time we visit my father again. After a chanting, they arrived at the serpent's forest, where Viper's father reappeared with an inquisitive expression. Again, you come, Naruto. Boy, what are you looking for here? Papa. Shittung turned to face Viper. Our summoner is interested in learning our clan's unique jutsu. Shittung was taken aback. Is he now? Let's not keep our summoner waiting, so bring in the summoner's scroll. Naruto picked up the large scroll that 3 serpents had on their backs and opened it to see the first move, Serpent's fighting style. Slithering fist. There were several drawings that depicted the style as the scroll described it, and he discovered methods such as the serpent hand that caused 4 poisonous serpents to emerge from his arms. What is all this? He asked, glancing at Shittung. Our summoners can learn these methods, my child. Different methods in taijutsu, genjutsu, ninjutsu, and even other disciplines. But you are too young to learn them all, he said, opening the book to the Snake Eye Genjutsu. On page 4. For now, you can learn up to this page. I'll let you know when I think you're ready for another section of the scroll, and you can continue to learn until then. Naruto nodded, happy to have gained additional knowledge, and began fervently attempting to read as much as he could from the scroll. The flashback is over. Naruto acquired the fighting techniques of the Serpent Hand, the Paralyzing Fang, a taijutsu move that could temporarily paralyze an adversary with a single blow, and the Snake Eye Genjutsu, which would frighten an adversary who looked into his eyes. However, nothing had prepared him for that evening, the night of the massacre in Uchiha. Flashback. Do you think I can sleep today? You have undoubtedly learned everything for the week, and I believe you ought to take a short break. I'm proud of you, boy, after all. Many thanks, Sensei. I am. A cry for assistance was heard at that moment. When Naruto ran there in an attempt to find out what was wrong, he saw the most horrifying sight of all. A full-scale massacre. What is going on? He witnessed Itachi murder someone else. Abruptly, he realized that he was murdering Uchihas. Naruto saw that Itachi was going to murder his own parents and was ready to leave because he didn't want to be involved. Leave them alone, kid. It's not worth it. I may not, but I'm still entering. There's a funny smell to all of this. Naruto made a few hand gestures and used both hands to touch the ground. Summoning Jutsu, Hikari and Viper. Itachi hoped he wouldn't have to, but his father was the source of the betrayal. His mother, who was attempting to shield her husband, apparently had no idea what was happening. Fugaku stood behind her, disregarding the fact that he was shielding himself with his wife. Mom, step away, Itachi commanded. Why are you doing this, Itachi? I don't understand. Itachi. When Itachi turned, he saw 4 serpents approaching. He leapt back in time to see a 5th serpent emerge in the center, leap toward him, and then turn politely to slap Itachi across the face with her tail. Then she flinched back, only to have Itachi's chest struck by a tiny ball of fire. Hikari ran back to a boy Itachi didn't want to see that evening, and Itachi looked up. Naruto, that is most unexpected of you to drop by. I didn't want you to see this. What are you doing, Itachi? Why are you killing your own clan? Father and the rest of the clan were planning to take the power by force. They were going to kill Sarutobi and take his place as leaders of the village. I couldn't let this happen. I'm sorry if it seems cruel, but I'm doing the best for the village. Itachi didn't care if Naruto already knew because he always believed that hearing this would benefit both him and his listening mother. Makoto let out a gasp. It isn't possible. Fugaku resented his son's mindset and refused to stop. We're Uchihas. Why were you going to kill your mother too, then? Naruto asked, merely nodding in response to his attempt to stop us. I was giving her a chance to leave, Naruto. After giving it some thought, Naruto chose to inquire, what next? Itachi was unaware that Naruto was already aware of Kyuubi. The plan was for me to infiltrate an organization called Akatsuki, who are after some special people. I could then work as a spy for the village. Naruto gave another nod. What about your brother? Sasuke materialized as Naruto was saying this. He glanced at the corpses on the ground before turning to see his brother getting ready to battle an odd child. Big brother, was it him who killed them? No, Sasuke, I did. Tsukiyomi. Sasuke collapsed to the ground, lifeless. Ouch. You don't think you went a little overboard on this one? It is necessary. If my brother can work through the pain, a new and respectable breed of Uchihas will rise. Only if he isn't gay, you know? In fact, Itachi choked on this. He hadn't considered that, however, he sensed Anbu was rapidly approaching. It seems like I took too much time with this chat. Farewell, Naruto. Itachi disappeared after that. Naruto let out a sigh of relief, but he was really terrified of what Itachi might have done and was just trying to appear composed. In an attempt to get a kunai in his chest, he turned to ask Makoto if they were okay, slightly missing the heart in his right lung. Fugaku was going to attack once more, but Hikari and Viper would not allow it. Hikari used her mystic arrow to launch afar, reaching attack while Viper used close range combat techniques. They made an effort, but they were no match for a skilled elite. Fugaku took hold of Viper's neck and gave it a firm squeeze. Viper puffed after being unable to hold for very long. After that, Fugaku turned to face Hikari and struck the poor vixen in the tail with a kunai. Fugaku performed a fire-style mini fireball rain to strike Hikari's mouth with the fireballs as she screamed in pain, burning her from the inside out and causing her to puff. Makoto appeared in front of him just as he was about to complete the task. "What are you doing? They saved us," he yelled. "The village can't know we were saved by this demon. We would be the laughing joke of the century. The Uchihas will forever be a clan of respect. Now get out of my front," and struck Makoto in the face, causing her to fall to the ground. Makoto was shaken. How could he harm her like this? Did he hit her after everything she had done for him? Fugaku never showed affection, but this was the first time he had ever struck her. Was there a lie in her marriage? Did he really think it meant anything? But she had to save Naruto, so she couldn't consider that right now. She picked up a kunai that had been left on the ground. Makoto struck Fugaku in the head with the abandoned kunai just as he was about to strike again. Who would have thought that after all these years of screaming at Itachi to never leave his kunai on the ground, she would be thankful that he never did. Makoto grabbed Naruto as Fugaku fell to the ground, and she fled for her life, searching for a nearby hospital. Time passes, and a few moments later, in a white bed, Naruto awoke. He simply saw white, just like the day he was 5 years old. Medical facility. "Hello, young one, well done, it nearly killed us both. Kyubi, is it necessary for you to be so loud? I'm still drowsy. Perhaps you should open your eyes and take a look around." In an attempt to ward off the physicians and nurses, Naruto did just that and discovered a circle of serpents surrounding himself. On his bed, 5-2-tailed foxes stood, threatening anyone who dared approach with their tails. "Guys, what is wrong?" Both a fox and a serpent turned to face Naruto. First to go was the fox. "Good morning, Summoner. My name is Juno and I am the leader of the Two-Tailed Battalion. We are sorry for our delay in answering to your moment of need, but after seeing the state of Hikari, we needed to treat her or risk losing her. As soon as she was out of danger, she told us what happened and we rushed here." "The same for us," exclaimed the snake. "Good morning, Naruto. I'm Serpos and I'm in charge of the snakes here. When Viper came to our world she was barely breathing. So we had to take care of her before we could come for you." Shidung himself was very nervous about her daughter's well-being and yelled for us to help her. "As soon as she was able to speak, she told us what happened and we came for you." Naruto gave a nod. "But then, why are you threatening the doctors?" Naruto turned to Serpos and said, "Because one of them had poison in his needle. As a serpent, I know every kind of poison there is to know. I can recognize poison just from the smell alone and I could clearly smell poison on that needle from the other side of the hospital." Naruto turned to Juno this time and said, "That is not all, I'm afraid. While you were asleep, sir, a man with gray gravity-defying air came here and tried to use some sort of lightning technique on you. His palm was filled with electricity and he had a menacing look on the only eye I could see." "Did he wear a mask?" Yes he did. How did you know?" "His name is Kakashi, and this is not his first attempt. Thanks for stopping him." Juno appeared ashamed. "We, actually, didn't stop him. It was that woman, Makoto, who did it." Naruto's eyes widened. In fact, she had saved him. Then he made the decision to inquire, "Who brought me here?" "It was I." Makoto was standing there when Naruto turned to face the door. She gave him a smile. "It was the least I could do for saving me, Naruto." As soon as footsteps were heard, Sarutobi entered the room. He assumed a fighting stance as soon as he saw the two-tailed foxes. "Wait, old man. They are only protecting me, Naruto. They are the servants of Kyubi. How can you trust them?" Makoto and Sarutobi both widened their eyes at Naruto's words. "I do. Because I trust Kyubi." After that, Naruto described how Kyubi became his teacher, how he obtained 2 summoning contracts, and the jutsus he had learned. Sarutobi concluded, "So that is what you meant by my teacher is a slave driver." "Yeah. Sorry for not telling you earlier, old man." Makoto inquired, "And you have 2 summoning contracts?" Yes, foxes and serpents. With fear in his voice, Sarutobi questioned, serpents? Are you sure they are not snakes? I'm sure, old man. I know that snakes belong to a traitor to the village, but I trust the serpents. At this, Sarutobi gave a nod. Very well, Naruto. I'll trust your opinion. Oh, Makoto, there is a matter I wish to speak with you. Yes. Makoto and Naruto narrowed their eyes as they turned to face Sarutobi. Now, don't take this the wrong way, but you were supposed to die that night, they said. Please hear me out. The thing is, everyone believes you are dead, including your son. Oh my god. I got to go back for him, it's too late. He already believes he is the last Uchiha in the village. Furthermore, if the council knows you are still alive, they will use you as a breeding machine for baby Uchihas. I can't allow that to happen. So what do I do now? Sarutobi went through a lot of hand signals before saying, there is a simple solution. A seal then materialized after she struck Makoto in the forehead. Sealing jutsu. Shape-shift seal. Makoto changed in an instant. She had light brow hair and blue eyes similar to Naruto's. She examined herself. Everything else was essentially the same, with the exception that her pale skin turned more bronzed, as if she had spent the day sunbathing on the beach. What happened to me? Just a seal I created. All we need now is a new identity and you will be able to live a normal life. I do have such an identity, but it comes with a job. Makoto asked firmly, what is it that I need to do? As you may have noticed, Naruto isn't in the best of conditions. Even with the help he is getting, he is still badly treated and I wish I could change that. So if you accept, I wish to make you Naruto's adoptive mother. Makoto and Naruto stared at Sarutobi in disbelief. Then, with hope in his eyes, Naruto turned to face Makoto. It was his sincere wish to have a mother. However, various rejection scenarios played out in his mind. Makoto lived in a state of uncertainty. Could she truly leave her son and her whole life behind for a new life? She then turned to face Naruto. Compared to Sasuke or Itachi, you are completely different. Is it really possible for me to succeed? Then she recalled that she had been given another chance. Why was she doubting herself? Hokage. Sama, I accept. Naruto gave Makoto a startled look. Then, as he rushed to embrace her and gave her a fierce embrace, he started crying. I have a mom. I have a mom. As she stroked Naruto's hair, she said in a lovely voice, Naruto. Time to wake up, or you will be late to academy, and on your first day too. When Naruto opened his eyes, he saw his mother, Makoto Uchiha, who is now known as Miko Uzumaki, staring at him with the same expression he had grown to love when he woke up. Miko had settled into her new life and role quite nicely. She was a little tense at first. She wasn't accustomed to anything else in her home, after all. Naruto, however, was unique. He would come down every day for breakfast, give his mother a hug, then leap to the table, eat, and then give her a compliment on the food before heading off to training. He actually told her every day which training ground he would be at or whether he was considering visiting the Serpent's Jungle, which was another shock. When asked, he would say that he had never been to the fox's house. Kyuubi told me I wasn't ready yet, so I'll wait till the time is right. Sasuke was the source of her sadness. He had become a sinister, hungry snob. He constantly brooded about killing his older brother and pretended that the village owned him everything. You don't know what it's like to lose your family being murdered by a relative. When you trusted, Sasuke said, pushing Miko away when she attempted to visit him in an attempt to change his ways. If only he knew the truth. Screw it, he still would act the same way. In order to concentrate on her new charge, a bundle of joy with endless energy to boost, she simply gave up on a lost cause. She still recalls how difficult it was for the council to handle this. They even attempted to destroy the adoption documents. They had some success, and if Sarutobi hadn't made 3 copies of those papers, they would have had full success. Life was good, then. The only drawback is that Naruto is not a morning person, so she had to wake him up every day to avoid him sleeping until noon. This made her sigh. Well, nobody is flawless. She couldn't really complain about it if that was his only issue. Naruto saw both Viper and Hikari curled up on his chest with their stories on each arm as he rubbed the sleep from his eyes. They had been extremely protective of Fugaku ever since the incident. He could still recall their response when he called upon them once more. No jutsu flashback. Summoning jutsu. Hikari and Viper, was Naruto's cry as he slammed both hands down on the ground. A day after leaving the hospital, he was at home and made the decision to confront them because it appeared that they were avoiding him. Both stood there after a massive puff of smoke. With tears in their eyes, they gazed at Naruto. They hurried over to embrace him tightly. Girls. What is wrong? Why are you crying? Forgive us, Naruto. sobbed Viper. We weren't strong enough and we were defeated by that man. We let you down. Hikari went on, we were overconfident in our skills. He attacked us on our weak spots. We are sorry we failed you. Naruto's eyes widened. Did they believe they had let him down? Girls, he was an elite trained ninja. We were no match for him. If anything, you were awesome by standing up to him. Makoto told me everything. I was the one that was nailed with a kunai on the chest. Naruto silenced both of them just as they were about to object. Look, we paid the price for our overconfidence. We'll be all right if we don't make the same mistake twice. They both nodded and grinned at him. Excellent. Let's go now. I can't wait to resume my training. End of flashback. After that, Naruto returned to training with Hikari and Viper by his side. They were now inseparable and a formidable force of pranksters in Konoha. And every ninja feared them because they never knew who they would trick next. Oddly, though, only those who had ever wronged Naruto were pranked. Everyone else was always safe. One person seemed to be always in possession of something. Kakashi Hatake. He had once shown up with pink hair and another without, and then there was the occasion when his clothes spontaneously burst into flames in the middle of the market. Additionally, he was attacked by all of Konoha's cats in one day, including Tora, and his shampoo was traded for fish essence. The best, though, was the day Naruto did the unthinkable. It began as a typical day until a high-pitched scream was heard, and when the Anbu arrived, they saw Kakashi on the ground, his eyes wide as his book fell to the ground. However, it wasn't just any book. It was gay porn. Kakashi could never prove it was Naruto, but he knew it was him. It could only be him. With a new prank in mind, Naruto smiled and looked at the clock. 7 o'clock. There was plenty of time to pull it off. He whispered to his two partners, and all three smiled. This was going to be a lot of fun. And what do you have planned for today? While still making breakfast, Miko asked, even better, who are you going to pull a practical joke on today? Kakashi once more? Since the prick had attempted to use his Sharingan to see her nude, she actually detested him just as much as Naruto did. However, Naruto was returning home at the time and had warned Miko about him, so let's just say that he deserved every bit of suffering she caused him. No, he's on a mission. Today, I plan to pursue the Hyugas. Excellent. Keep in mind that the Byakugan is used at 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1600, and 1800. You shouldn't find it difficult aside from that. Naruto smiled. Fugaku would occasionally leave papers about the village defenses around the table for Miko to read, so she was well versed in them. Thank you, Mom. I swear I won't be discovered. Hopefully. Giving Naruto this kind of incentive to pull practical jokes might not have been the best idea for a mother, but it had several benefits. First, it improved his stealth skills. Second, it made people update their defenses so they wouldn't be tricked, making the village safer. And third, it was hilarious. In an attempt to begin his plan before the academy began, Naruto ate his breakfast, kissed his mother on the face, and hurried to his bedroom to change. He went to the wardrobe and took out his new clothes, which Makoto had thrown away with the assistance of Hikari and Viper after seeing them once. His new attire included a black muscle shirt with the kanji for serpent in green and fox in orange on the chest, black combat boots, black pants, and an orange jacket with dark flames on the bottom and a green viper dancing in the back. Girls? Asked Naruto as Viper slithered rested on the inside of his jacket, where she could attack from any of Naruto's sleeves, and Hikari jumped to his neck, circling it and then settling down, looking like a furry scarf. Let's go, we got a meeting with the Hyugas. Outside the Hyuga mansion, 30 minutes later. In Naruto's ear, a female voice said, "This is Fox, everything is ready on my end," through the radio communicator. "This is Serpent, I'm ready too." "Okay, this prankster. Start plan in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go." As ducks, geese, and chickens filled the Hyuga mansion's corridors, chaos broke out. With the exception of the branch house, which Naruto genuinely sympathized with and always forewarned before the pranks, the Hyugas were still asleep. The strange glister on their clothes went unnoticed as the main house emerged from their bedrooms. Only when they stepped outside and the feathers began to adhere to their clothing did they realize. Glue. They had glue all over their clothes. Everyone was destined to turn into enormous feather balls because of all the feathers in the air. Once more, the branch house, Hinata, and her sister Hanabi were the only ones who managed to avoid this. After receiving a warning, the branch house stayed out of the main house's hallways. Because they had gotten up earlier than the others to train earlier, Hanabi and Hinata were fortunate. When they saw their creation, Naruto, Hikari, and Viper chuckled. It was outstanding, the ideal strategy implemented. Viper exclaimed, "This was priceless," in between chuckles. As Hikari rolled on the ground, she joked, I know, I never had seen so many feathers on a human before. Maybe they are a new breed? After wiping a tear from the corner of his eye, Naruto looked up and froze. Girls? We better run now. When they looked, everyone in the main house was staring at them. Yeah, we better go now, Hikari said, taking a slow step back. I agree. See you around, Viper slithered back, saying. Everyone began to run as if someone had rung a bell. Some to retaliate for their honor, others to preserve their lives. According to the shouting on both sides of the run, it was the number of people who woke up. Nonetheless, one individual observed the run with curiosity. Anko Mitarashi was that individual. The Hokage had no mission for her today, unless she wanted to perform D-rank missions, so she was bored and had nothing to do. Yes, exactly. As if she would be discovered engaging in such behavior once more. No. In an attempt to calm herself, she was about to go for a dango when she noticed a child with several geese in cages. When she saw what he had done with the geese, she actually rolled on the ground, despite her admiration for where he got them. The child was brilliant. He was now outpacing every main Hyuga. This youngster is quick, and he doesn't appear to be getting tired anytime soon. If he was able to trick the Hyugas, he is also intelligent. Fascinating. Perhaps there is still hope for the next generation of ninjas. Let's watch his next move. At the academy, a short while later, the instructor glanced around the classroom. At the start of the year, he hated the day he lost that card game. As a result, he received the first year, which was the worst. The last year was the easiest, so Iruka was a lucky son of a bitch. He saw the name, Naruto Uzumaki, on the paper as the teacher called out the names. He chose to call for the next person on the line instead of going through that one. After finishing the calls, he was going to simply mark a miss in Naruto's paper when a shadow passed across him. A voice he didn't want to hear said, Teacher, why didn't you call my name? When the instructor looked up, Naruto was standing atop his desk, staring at him with a face that said, I know what you were doing and I don't like it one bit. At the sight of him, the teacher became enraged. Get out of here, demon. Your kind is not welcomed here. Naruto gave a nod. Fair enough, just a question though. What do you want? Are you allergic to serpents? The question in its innocent tone caused the teacher to raise an eyebrow. The outcome was not going to be good. Why do you want to know? Because you are about to get bitten by one. Surprise. Naruto raised his sleeve as he said that, and before the students could notice, Viper emerged, bit the teacher in the neck, and then retreated inside the sleeve. The instructor screamed in agony before experiencing vertigo. After a short while, when the teacher awoke, he was bound to a post. He nearly regurgitated the thing that was in his mouth when he saw it. His own underwear. He had his unmentionables in his mouth, completely nude, in the middle of the road. People in his immediate vicinity would pause, laugh out loud at him, and then simply walk away. Don't look at me. I'm just married to this post and we just had butt sex. Was written on a sign above him. Let's just say that made the poor Chunin even more hilarious. There was no sign of the offender. Following his recent prank, Naruto had made the decision to go eat. He was praising Viper as he went from rooftop to rooftop. Congratulations, Viper, your poison is really great, you know? Viper, pleased to receive praise, exclaimed, it's just a sleeping poison, nothing much, but I am proud of it, too. Feeling excluded, Hikari pouted, hey, I helped you carry that idiot and tying him up, don't I deserve a compliment? Of course, Hikari, you did great too. You shouldn't be jealous, though, I like the both of you equally, never forget that. They both blushed at this. After exchanging glances, Hikari gestured to Viper, saying, we will talk about this later. Viper nodded. While Naruto was searching for a place to eat, this occurred without his knowledge. As he approached a dango restaurant, Naruto said, hey girls, why not try dango today? It might be good to try something new. At his suggestion, they both nodded and went into the dango restaurant. The issue was that Naruto had never had dango before, so he wasn't entirely sure what to order. He was about to simply turn around and head back for some ramen when he heard a voice. Hey, Brad, give him the beginner's dish and put it on my account. Shocked to the core, everyone in the restaurant gasped when they saw who had said that. Naruto turned to see a woman with purple hair dressed in a short skirt, a fishnet shirt, and a beige jacket. For 3 reasons, Naruto chose not to judge this new acquaintance based solely on appearances, despite the fact that she appeared to be a whore. First of all, he was the living example of how appearances can often be deceiving. After seeing Naruto, who would have guessed that he had outrun Anbu? Second, the best opponent is the one who can conceal his actual skill, either by acting or by appearing less skilled than he actually is. Thirdly, she was making the payment. In fact, how many people were interested in paying for his meals? Hearing her out was the least he could do. Thanks, miss. So you don't know me? I'm hurt. My name is Anko Mitarashi. Ring any bells? Naruto's gaze expanded. The Mitarashi Anko? One of the individuals in charge of questioning people in Konoha? Naruto's mother had told him about her and how, back when she was Makoto, she was her friend. According to what he had heard about her, their pasts were remarkably similar. I'm honored of meeting you, Anko Mitarashi. No need to talk like that with me, kid. There is no honor here, just me paying some dango to a person that caught my interest. That prank you did to the Hyugas was excellent. It was nothing, really, I just knew when to strike. But the one that caught the most my attention was what you did to your new teacher. That was hard. Naruto's eyes became stony. Wouldn't you have done the same thing if he had come to your face and called you a demon? I think you more than anyone know what I'm talking about. Anko was taken aback. How do you know about that? My mom told me about your past. She told me how you were a student of a man who became a traitor and then you got blamed for it too. Anko was genuinely taken aback. I didn't know you had a mother. Who is she and how does she know so much about me? Naruto knew how, but he didn't want to share it. I was adopted recently. Her name is Miko Uzumaki. She took me in a few weeks ago. And I don't know how she knows, you will have to ask her personally. I just ask that you don't kill her. She is very nice to me. Naruto could not help but notice the twinge of pain in Anko's eyes. Is something wrong? Did I say something? No, I just used to really like this woman, Makoto Uchiha, but she died a few weeks ago at the hands of her own rampaging son. She was a very close friend, and one sexy bitch. The name is very close to Miko, so forgive me for my reaction. Naruto retorted, no need for that, I understand. Anko's smile returned. So kid, if your teacher isn't going to teach you, want a hand on that? Naruto gave Anko a direct look. What? I asked if you want me to help you learn what the academy should teach you. Mind that you will have to be sometimes without me, as I have missions too, so what do you say? Naruto was taken aback. Why would you help me? Anko sighed. Because I like your pranks, and I have been bored. Besides, don't expect me to go easy on you. Naruto chuckled at her foolishness. I wouldn't want it any other way. Oh, by the way, what is the beginner's dish? It's a dish with a dango of each kind. That way you can try and see if you like any them. Naruto grinned. He sensed that this teacher would be a good fit for him. Naruto offered his teacher some of the dango as it arrived, and they both began eating while talking about their plans for the new training. In the midst of their conversation, Hikari and Viper would steal some food. When Anko finally saw the serpent, her eyes widened. The serpents? But I thought that the contract was lost. It was, but I saved one of the members from death, passed the trial of the serpent which I will not talk about as each summon is their own, and got permission. Then Anko caught a glimpse of Naruto's scarf moving slightly. What about that, Einstein? As Hikari raised her head, Naruto responded, Hikari is my second summon. She belongs to the Fox clan. Anko gave a whistle. Anko thought to herself, I didn't know you could summon two clans? Kyuubi must be responsible? So, let's get started. Anko smiled. When I'm done with you, you will wish you had never said those words. Time. Skip. On that evening, Anko was quite pleased with her new pupil. Only because of her experience did she survive the morning's physical training and sparring without suffering any injuries. The child was really skilled and had two different fighting styles. She was surprised to learn that he already knew some clan jutsu when they used the afternoon to see what jutsu he knew. They were the fundamentals, of course, but still, she discovered then that he was unaware of the three that the academy required. Teaching Naruto the henge was how she spent the day. He responded by stating that it was among the first things he trained in his life, which was actually surprising given how well he controlled his chakras. He had acquired the henge at night and even created a variation known as the sexy jutsu, which Anko found amusing and attractive. Anko was losing a lot of blood through her nose because of the attractive girl in front of her. Anko went and grabbed Naruto's breasts, believing that they would simply swell and she would be reunited with Naruto. Anko was a proud bisexual woman who was never ashamed of her sexuality. The remarkable aspect was that it was a genuine metamorphosis, leaving Anko to question what more this child was capable of. Naturally, Naruto was already terrified by that point. She clarified that she was merely making sure it was a henge or a true transformation. However, the child was now panting on the ground and it was getting dark. You did well, kid. Thanks, sensei. Sensei? Yeah, you are teaching me after all, so the title suits you. Not really, kid. It makes me feel old, the child said, Hey, want to spend the night with us? I'm sure you might find a surprise or two, after they had both finished laughing. It was like watching a fish bite the hook when Anko said that because he was an extremely inquisitive person. Alright, Buster. Let's see what surprise you have there. Together, they awoke and headed for Naruto's home. They walked in silence because Hikari and Viper had gone off to train in their clans. As long as Anko can remain silent, that is. So, was it your new mommy that forced you out of those horrible jumpsuits? Naruto complained. They were not that bad, but yes, it was her, with some help from my summons. Anko chuckled. That had got to be priceless, but you know that those clothes are not really stealthy. These are my training clothes. They're made of a tissue that makes movement harder on the user. Furthermore, if I can go around and evade Anbu with this, then I don't need help with stealth. But I do have another set of clothes, my mission clothes. Oh, and what are those clothes? You will find out if and when we do a mission together. Anko nodded while pouting. Even the smallest of items were always kept for himself by a skilled ninja. They arrived at Naruto's house. The door was knocked on by Naruto. Mom, I'm back from training and have a surprise for you. Although a little taken aback, Anko remained in that position. Could it be that she knew his new mother already? God, what if she had previously tormented her and now seeks retribution? Miko approached the door. The world seemed to stop for a second as Miko and Anko exchanged stunned glances. Anko? Makoto? While assisting Naruto with his belongings, Miko asked, do you have your stuff, Naruto? Pens, papers and prank bag? Mom, I prepared everything yesterday night while you and Anko didn't let me sleep with your moans and yells. Seriously, silencing seals are not that expensive. Miko reddened. Miko and Anko had started dating during the past year. At first, Naruto was ecstatic, but he had no idea about Miko. She is incredibly noisy in bed. Guess we did forget something yesterday, sorry Naruto. Naruto let out a sigh. You know I have nothing against you being together. If anything, I'm happy you found someone. But today is my genin exam and I wanted to at least look presentable to it. But now I look like I have been killed and brought back from the dead. Miko chuckled at Naruto's analogy. Since Naruto activated a silencing seal outside her room as soon as he heard her, she was aware that he was merely playing a practical joke on her. She discovered it activated in the morning, so she knew. Additionally, Naruto appeared well rested and was merely playing a joke on his mother. I understand. But don't be so nervous, you will pass it for sure. Remember what I taught you for the written part. Kyuubi and the summons prepared you for the throwing shuriken and taijutsu part, and Anko got you 2 of the 3 needed jutsu for the last part and then gave you a good substitute for the last part. This was accurate. Miko had, in fact, assisted him in making the dull history lessons more engaging by acting a little. His body was prepared for any opponent thanks to Kyuubi's and the summons intense training, and his aim was almost flawless. He was familiar with substitution and henge. He was unable to perform the bunshin because of his still substantial chakra reserves, but Anko taught him a lovely method from the same family. Cage bunshin jutsu. That one became one of his favorites because he was so good at it. Okay. See you when I am Rookie of the Year. I know you will be, but don't boost about it so loudly, you will demoralize the other kids, laughed Miko. Summoning jutsu. Hikari and Viper was one of Naruto's hand signals after he smirked and cut both of his hands. Viper and Hikari showed up on his front. She returned to where they had been. Hikari around Naruto's neck and Viper inside his jacket. But not before they had given each other a serious glance. Talk was what they had. The conversation. Viper pointed to Hikari and said, so, Hikari, care to tell me why you were blushing the other day? Guess for the same reason as you, Viper. Face it, we like him really much. He is kind, loving and caring. But he is also funny and smart, with all those pranks he plans. And he is very protective of us and, oh, there is too much to tell. Viper gave a nod. Yes, there is. He keeps us going and inspiring us to be better, but at the same time he works hard to improve himself. One cannot help but to fall for him. They both let out a sigh. Then exchanged glances. Not liking the idea, Hikari questioned, does this mean we will have to fight for him? No, there is only one thing we can do, we will have to wait for Naruto's choice. The one he chooses will have to do her best to make him happy. That is all. What if he chooses someone else? Viper was considering this. Then we will make sure that that someone is one that can make him happy. That is all we can do, Hikari. Hikari gave this a nod. After that, they both went back to their trains in an effort to strengthen themselves for the man they love. Talk end. Do you need to know who said, good morning, ladies? I hope you are ready to kick ass. With her tail wagging, an excited Hikari exclaimed, of course we are. We are so going to leave those genin on the floor. Viper exclaimed, I agree. With equal enthusiasm. This is what we have been training for. To be the best. Then let's go. At the academy. Everyone was talking loudly. Some were confident they would pass, while others were anxious they might not. Is that a fanboy? Sasuke was seated to one side, with all of his fangirls seated close by. No. Sakura is shouting at Ino once more. Naruto came into the room at that precise moment. Everyone turned to admire the new kid's appearance. Some of the ideas were as follows. Who's the new kid? I must prove to him that I'm the best. Well, who is this new Kid? He's just another wimp to die, and he's nothing in comparison to a Uchiha. He's so hot. Perhaps even more than Sasuke. Sasuke, the new kid, is mine, and you win the forehead. He is adorable, but Sasuke is more attractive. Buzz. He may be the strongest person here, which is interesting. Yes, I need to pay close attention to this one. A super kid has just entered the room, which is problematic. What about the fox in his neck? Is that a snake? Would this child agree to compete with me in a meal? The majority of the girls had their hearts in their eyes as they gazed at Naruto. This infuriated Hikari and Viper. The majority of those bimbos are incapable of producing genin. At the same time, the two thought, stop staring at my man. Looking around at the children, Naruto tried to figure out where he should take a seat. He noticed a vacant spot close to Sasuke but chose to ignore it. He noticed another close to a child wearing a high-collared jacket and black sunglasses. Quiet but intelligent, and Aburame, he's the kind of guy the first can sit with. To everyone's surprise, the new kid sits close to Shino. After a period of silence, Naruto held out his hand. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. May I know your name? Without acknowledging the hand, Shino raised an eyebrow before saying, my name is Shino Aburame. Then Naruto pulled a silly face. You know, when one has his hand like this, you are supposed to shake it. Shino was taken aback. Despite being aware that he was an Aburame, Naruto still desired to shake hands with him. Shino grinned. Perhaps a friend could be saved. Choosing to conduct a test, he slipped some bugs into Naruto's hand while shaking it. Naruto chuckled. Naruto glanced at his hand and said, those tickle a bit. So this is the type of bug that Aburame use. Behind his collar, Shino grinned. He now realized that if the child wasn't repulsed by his bugs, they could become friends. These are the basic ones. However, from my clan, one can choose different animals to form a hive in them. My uncle is killer wasps. Really, that is so cool. The only downside is they eat your chakra a lot, don't they? Replied Naruto. Shino answered, one gets used to it. Can I ask why you don't seem disgusted by my bugs? Naruto responded, it's not bugs that bother me. People are sometimes far more disgusting than any animal can ever hope to be. Shino gave his reasoning a nod. The Aburame believed that logic was fundamental, and his reasoning was sound in every way. At that moment, Naruto was confronted by a child who had a dog in his head. Naruto didn't blink at all. Could you move? You are blocking the light. The child yelled, you think you're good, but in here, I'm top dog, got it. After glancing at him, Naruto raised his head. Could you keep your pet on a tighter leash? He is a bit annoying. This made everyone laugh. The child glanced at Naruto. What did you say? Hey, if the problem is that you are top dog, I can get you neutered. Simple and fast. Everyone started laughing uncontrollably. After glancing at Naruto, the child grinned. The now identified Kiba held out his hand and said, never heard that one before. I like your style, man. Name is Kiba, and the little guy over me is Akamaru. Naruto gave it a shock. Kiba chuckled at the joke. Naruto Uzumaki. Nice to meet both owner and pet, whatever way the thing works. You are not that far from the truth. In the Inuzuka clans, both dog and human take care of each other. So at some times, he is my owner. While Shino snickered at Kia, Naruto chuckled at the information. Iruka entered the classroom at that very moment. Since no one had any questions, Iruka began handing out the papers. Okay, people, let's all sit down so we can start the written test. After that, you will meet Mizuki outside. Any questions? She asked. Viper quickly scanned the paper as it was being handed out. Naruto, wait a moment. I think there is a minor genjutsu in your paper. When Iruka saw the serpent, she mistook it for a snake that would attack Naruto. As Iruka was about to make the kill, Naruto reached up and took hold of his arm without even blinking. Iruka's kunai was only millimeters away from Viper. As he attempted to pull his arm back, Iruka screamed, Naruto, what the hell are you doing? She could be a spy for Orochimaru. The problem is that he was unable to. He couldn't even shake from Naruto's firm grip on his arm. He noticed that Naruto was staring at him with icy eyes. Iruka. Sensei. First, I will give you one chance to apologize to my summon. If you don't, I'll get pissed. Second, she couldn't be a spy because she is a serpent and Orochimaru uses snakes. Last, you should be trying to look after the guy who put a genjutsu on my paper. Because this I could have failed this part if Viper, the serpent here, hadn't found the illusion. Iruka was furious. That was unlike any Naruto he had ever seen. When he realized that Naruto was correct and that a genjutsu was on the test, he became even more incensed. Okay, Naruto. Just let me take care of the test. Naruto screamed, first apologized to her, without letting go. Iruka swallowed and turned to face the serpent staring at him. I'm sorry for this, I thought you were. Iruka, it's okay. The Viper complied. She slithered out of Naruto's jacket as she made the statement, you couldn't see me clearly, that was a misunderstanding. Most children freaked out when she did. Viper was no longer the tiny serpent she had been. When Naruto's arms were extended, she was large enough to touch both of his hands with her head and tail. Hikari was able to ride as Naruto's scarf because she had not yet experienced her growth spur. She was impressive, then. The majority of the girls turned their backs on her. Sakura screamed, which is what she does best. She was about to say, Naruto. Baka. How dare you bring an ugly serpent to the academy? You really are a. When there was enough murderous intent in the room to choke even a Jonin. The source was Naruto. Sakura, I'll only say this once. I don't care what your whore of a mother told you about me. I don't care what you say about me. You say one more thing about Viper or Hikari and you're dead. Sakura shuddered. If there is one thing that everyone is aware of, it is that human foolishness is the only thing that endures in the world. Naruto, how dare you threaten me? Just because I won't go on a date with a demon like you, doesn't mean you can't threaten me. Just as Naruto was about to respond, the most incredible thing occurred. Viper lost it. With incredible speed, she slithered in Sakura's direction and struck her with her tail. She then encircled Sakura's waist as she walked back, and then she threw Sakura against the wall while circling a table with her tail. Sakura collapsed after colliding with the wall. Stupid banshees. And pink-haired freaky whores. Were the words Viper muttered as she slithered back towards Naruto. Everyone was stunned by what had transpired. The most amazing thing they had witnessed since arriving at the academy was what that serpent had just done. Naruto was even more shocked by the event. A calm and patient Viper. Snapped. The world must be about to end. At that moment, Hikari made the decision to awaken. Whaaa. What did I miss? To see the fox, everyone turned to look at Naruto's neck. The girls rushed to Iruka, who had turned pale once more, and attempted to pat the frightened fox. This only served to increase Viper's ire. Naruto was starting to worry about her. Everyone loves foxes, but serpents? No, because serpents are evil, he said. Naruto, who is that fox you have there? That, Iruka, is my fox summon. And before you start, I have 2 summoning contracts. Serpents and foxes. That is all I'm going to say. Rising from his position, Sasuke approached Naruto. Give them to me. I'm Uchiha. I deserve them more than you could ever. It was Hikari's moment to lose it, and Naruto had no time to respond. She ran quickly towards Sasuke, performed an airborne somersault, and struck him with her tail before anyone could catch her. Hikari put her tails up while Sasuke regained his sense of direction. Flame wheel. A ball of fire struck Sasuke's chest before he could flee, sending him close to Sakura, where he passed out. She muttered something along the lines of, egotistical motherfuckers, and stupid arrogant jerks, before throttle, backing. Naruto was genuinely alarmed by this. He was intimately acquainted with the girls. They had never treated anyone like that. They just snapped now. And after her, period. What the devil was wrong with them both would have to be revealed to him. However, that would wait until later. He needed to reunite the class. Iruka, my test. Iruka snapped back to the present. Yes, of course. They then resumed the test. You could see Shikamaru and Naruto sleeping a few seconds later. Shikamaru believed that Naruto had already completed the test and was bored, and that the situation was simply bothersome. After a few minutes, they were in the field, prepared for the exam's taijutsu portion. Hikari and Viper were where they usually were. The other matches were seen by Naruto. Hitting Mizuki at least once was the goal. Naruto was making remarks about the fights with Kyuubi. These people are awful. The majority of them are merely subpar imitations of the academy style, lacking even a respectable fighting stance. Perhaps so, but without the assistance Shitong and I have provided, You would be exactly like that. When will you tell those two, by the way? Kyubi, what are you talking about? I mean, when will you express your emotions to them? Doing it sooner would make it easier. Are you serious? What if I'm not loved in return? Just so you know, did you notice how big Shidong is? He would kill me if I asked Hikari and her daughter to be my girlfriends. Oh, and let me concentrate since it's my turn to fight. Mizuki called its name while Naruto was thinking that. After striking Mizuki 3 times, Sasuke had just left. Naruto was aware that Kiba's claim that Mizuki was lenient toward him was accurate. The council is always interested in what they believe is best for the golden boy. Naruto grabbed his jacket and placed it on the ground. Viper and Hikari both put on the jacket as though it were a seat for a performance. After that, Naruto proceeded to the stage. He noticed a glint in Mizuki's eyes that he was all too familiar with. It was hateful. Okay, Naruto. If you can hit me, you pass. Then Naruto assumed the smart fire fist fighting stance, which involves bending his legs and holding his hands together in a circle while staring at his opponent. In his hands, chakra blazed like a blue flame. Naruto, this is a taijutsu match, you don't need chakra. For my style, I need. You will see, in less than 10 seconds, the match started and ended. Mizuki attempted to punch Naruto in the face, but Naruto caught him in the chest and turned the fist away. Mizuki fell out of the ring with chakra burns on her clothes after a blast was heard. Everyone was quiet. In less than 10 seconds, the new kid had defeated Mizuki. Only Hikari and Viper, who were already aware of that ability, Shino, who was interestedly studying the taijutsu, and Sakura, who was once again screaming, weren't frozen in shock. Naruto. Baka, how dare you do that to Mizuki? Sensei. You stupid demon. In an instant, Viper and Hikari were on the move. Viper bit Sakura's leg this time when they were on her. Hikari leapt and launched a mystic arrow at Sakura's chin as she opened her mouth to scream in agony. It wasn't powerful enough to cause serious harm, but it was enough to cause her jaws to collide, making her feel lightheaded. Then, using their tails as whips, Hikari and Viper flung Sakura against the wall once more. Would you shut up? Some of us have sensitive ears, you know? Shouted Hikari. Yeah, and just for the record, nobody likes the billboard, pink-haired banshee screaming at them. Before Iruka emerged, observed the mess, and questioned, what the hell happened while I was correcting the written exams? Everyone was silent. Lunch break. While dining at Ichiraku's ramen, Naruto asked, you guys really flipped out today, are you sure everything is fine? Viper and Hikari exchanged glances. They were aware that they would eventually need to identify the issue. They made the decision to carry it out tonight. They had to tell their families first, though. Naruto, we will explain everything tonight. Okay. Just be patient until then, replied Viper. Hikari begged, yeah, it is just until tonight, okay? Please? Naruto nodded after glancing at them. Fine, but I want a full explanation. Okay. They both exclaimed. With some hesitation, Viper began, oh, Naruto? Can I go visit my realm while you take care of the rest of your exam? I need to speak with Dad? Hikari said, me too? Mommy and I need to have a talk. Fine. But I'm still waiting for both of you tonight. Once more at the academy. Iruka exclaimed, okay, time for the object throwing test. You can choose 10 kunai, or 10 shuriken or 10 senbon. All you got to do is hit the maximum of targets with the objects you choose. The exercise was initiated by the children. A majority received 5s and 6s. Nothing significant. Sasuke received a perfect score with the shuriken. Naruto reached up and took 10 of each. Naruto, it is only. However, Naruto had already begun tossing the items. A senbon, a shuriken, and a kunai were nailed into each target's center. Everyone let out a gasp, and Sasuke became enraged. How does he beat me again? What gives him his strength? To defeat him, I must obtain his power. In the serpent jungle, this was taking place. Viper slithered in the direction of her father, who was in the high threes meditating. Father, may I have a moment of your attention? My daughter, you always have my attention. You make me proud with your progress every day. Shidong stretched as he spoke. Now, what brings you here? Did Naruto already pass his test? Viper sighed and said, no father, not yet. Father, I don't know how to say this but, what I'm trying to say is, oh screw it, I'm in love with Naruto. Shidong's gaze shifted to her daughter. Do you? Yes father. Me and Hikari both love him and we were thinking of telling him tonight. I want to know if you allow this. Shidong gazed at the setting sun. You know, today I had a meeting with the 3 judges, to talk about Naruto. You know that given the methods of our judges, most of our summoners have had hard lives. As her father went on, Viper glanced at him. Shidung turned to face Viper and said, "Well, I talked with them and was able to get to know more about Naruto, and can even theorize some things. Have you ever wondered why he lets you be with him at all times, even in his sleep? Why he allows you to go in his jacket as he goes in town, so close to himself?" Viper gave her a head shock. Shidung continued, "Because before Yuto came, he didn't have any kind of nice contact. His life has been a constant pain. Any kind of close contact he had with other people were with the doctors and the Hokage, who was always too busy. In other words, he found in Yuto what he needed, a loving contact." Viper let out a gasp. She didn't realize how crucial it was that they were always there for him. Shidung went on to say, "You two became living pillars of his spirit. Without you, he will fall. That is why I agree with this." Viper grinned. "Thank you, father." Shidung grinned. "You may even show the advanced henge of the summoning clans. But no kids just of yet. I'm not old enough for grandchildren." "Father." In the den of the fox. Hikari ran through the cavern, screaming, "Mom? Mom? Where the hell is she? Mom?" Since the fox realm was a den in a mountain, it might be challenging to locate someone there because of the size of the den in the mountain. A slick voice said, "I'm here, my child." Hikari was giving a six-tailed embrace. There was a yellow fox on the floor with the tails. "Now, what is all this racket about? Don't tell me you have gotten your summoner in some kind of trouble." "Mom, it is not that," exclaimed a furious Hikari. Her mother, Kaisei, was a loving vixen who enjoyed making fun of everyone. "It's about him, but it's different." Kaisei arched an eyebrow. "I'm listening." Hikari nibbled on her lip. "The thing is, I love him." This caused Kaisei's eyes to enlarge. "Really?" "Yes, Mom, me and Viper do. We are going to tell him tonight." "Well, good for you. I hope you can be very happy with him." Hikari gasped. That was a little too much, even though her mother was very laid back. "Why are you taking this so well? You preferred me yelling something nasty." "I have my reasons. 1. The other summons always have something nice to say about Naruto, so I know he is a good kid. 2nd, remember that I have a mate mark with Kyuubi?" Hikari grinned. The fact that her mother was Kyuubi's mate was well known. "Well, I have talked with him and he praises the boy very much, so I have nothing against." Hikari grinned. "Thank you, Mom. Show him the advanced henge tonight, that will make him go crazy about you. Oh, and use condoms, I don't want to be a granny yet." "Mom." At the academy. As he and Mizuki sat on a chair beside a table, Iruka explained, "Okay, people. Time for the ninjutsu segment of the test. All you have to do is show us the henge, the substitution and the bushin. Then you can get extra points if you do one more technique for us." Then Iruka displayed a list of names. "When I call your names, you come here," and so it started all over again. Naruto was quite disinterested. "This is simple. What on earth? Some of these genin wanabes would die within a minute if they were put on a C rank." The person with the best punctuation on this was Sasuke. He created 5 clones, a lovely substitution, and an excellent henge. He performed Kaden Fireball Jutsu. After that, a genin with that jutsu left everyone in awe. Naruto dozed off in his spot. Boring. When Naruto's turn finally came, he leapt from his seat and landed, already hanged, in front of the startled teachers. The 4th Hokage was him. The similarities horrified both teachers. Before Naruto cancelled the henge, Iruka even considered the possibility that it might actually be Minato Namikaze. "Okay, Naruto. Now I want the substitution." Iruka had somehow materialized in the center of the room in the middle of the sentence. He turned to see Naruto using a stick to clean his teeth close to Mizuki. "Okay." Iruka was back in his position. "Now, the bushin." Naruto's clones quickly filled the room with a single hand signal. This horrified Iruka and Mizuki, who had never heard of anyone performing so many. "Well, Naruto. Do you want to do anything else for extra credit?" asked Iruka. Naruto closed his eyes and said, "Yes." Upon opening them, he shouted, "Kaden Firefox Jutsu," and performed a series of hand signals. In addition to Naruto, 10 foxes of fire of his size appeared. They started to move around the classroom, grinning predatorily at the other children. They then turned, exited through the window, and fell to the ground. They created a pillar of flames that was so hot that it caused people to perspire profusely. Then there was still a black mark of scorch on the floor. "I'm done here. Can I get my headband now?" Iruka gave a stupid nod, and Mizuki became enraged. "My Fallout guy is gone. I will therefore need to steal the scroll myself." As he left Academy, Naruto held a piece of paper that read, "Congratulations in being the Rookie of the Year. He also had 2 jutsu scrolls and a set of kunai and shuriken in his bag. One for the transparency jutsu, and another for the chakra pulse jutsu, which gave one the ability to somewhat repel adversaries. Although the jutsu wasn't strong enough to cause harm, it was helpful in keeping guys away from you and freeing up time for another jutsu. As the other children ran to their parents, he stood there and watched. Because he couldn't see Anko or Miko there, he became a little depressed. However, that was quickly altered when he sensed 2 chakra signatures directly behind him. He looked back and saw Miko and Anko conversing with Iruka. Anko yelled, "Didn't I tell you, Miko, that he would be Rookie of the Year? Shrimp is just too fucking awesome to be compared with these losers." The parents of those who had passed the genin exam scowled at her. In any case, she didn't care. The author yells in indignation, "What the fuck do you mean?" Miko takes a defensive stance and says, "I was talking about Sasuke." "Oh, okay," reprimanded Miko. "Don't get the kid too cocky, Anko." Naruto shouted, "Mom, Anko," as he sprinted over to them and leapt onto their arms. Anko joked, "Oh, calm down, Shrimp," until she noticed that Viper and Hikari were absent. "Where are your pets? Weren't they with you?" At this, Naruto snarled, "They're not my pets." The language shocked everyone except Miko and Naruto. "Oh, are they your fuck buddies then?" The implication startled Naruto. Anko. Miko found it amusing, but the poor kids were shocked at them. "Come on, Anko, quit teasing the poor kid." "But seriously, Naruto, where are those 2? They went to their summon realms," was Naruto's response. "They were acting weird today, and when I asked them, they said they would tell me tonight, but they needed to go back to their realms." Miko and Anko exchanged glances before turning back to Naruto. Miko said, "What do you mean, weird?" Naruto knew it was better to tell than to spend the rest of the day dealing with an inquisitive Anko. "Yeah, their period was ended last week. So spill it, kid," Anko demanded. Both women thought the same thing as he described what had happened. Is he unaware that they lost their temper because he was the target of the insult? Sometimes, Miko and Shrimp are really stupid. Brilliant, but stupid, by Anko. Anko said in a serious tone, "Shrimp, you better wait for tonight, it's better they tell you." Naruto glanced at the floor. "You mean you don't know what is wrong with them?" "Oh, we know," Miko exclaimed. "But it is best if it is told by them, it is kind of personal, Naruto." With a nod, Naruto made the decision to hold off until tonight. Mizuki was fuming in the corner while this was going on. "The repulsive demon has a family, look at that." "Well, it's irrelevant. I have to concentrate on obtaining the scroll." When Anko noticed the smile, she turned to face Naruto. "Hey Shrimp, I got to go to a meeting of Jonins to decide the teams and such, you should go with Miko now." Then she whispered to him, "Keep an eye on Mizuki. I don't know, but nothing good will come out of that." Anko vanished in a cloud of smoke as Naruto nodded in agreement. 2 hours later, in the Hokage's office, standing in front of the Hokage were all the Jonins that this would require students. Everyone? No, there wasn't a bothersome one-eyed, silver-haired pornographic reader that read, "Bastard." Once more, he was 2 hours late. When he eventually showed up, Sarutobi was about to call the Anbu to capture him. "Yo, sorry I'm late, but there was spare me from your ridiculous excuses, Kakashi. Now, do you have any student you requested the Hokage. You see, the Jonins were permitted to request students and explain why, even though the Hokage had the final say. Alternatively, to turn away students and explain why. For instance, a Jonin with no knowledge of Genjutsu can turn down a Wanabe Genin who is a Genjutsu master. Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. First, I request Sasuke Uchiha, since I'm the only one with an active Sharingan and so I can teach him better than anyone else. This declaration infuriated the other Jonins. They weren't necessarily bad teachers just because they didn't have the Sharingan. Sarutobi merely asked, "Do you have anything more?" "Yes, I request Naruto Uzumaki on the grounds that he can create a friendly rivalry with Sasuke to make him work harder." The last student, "I have no requests or refuses." "Very well. Team 7 will be made of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Sai," Sarutobi remarked after nodding. Kakashi's soul eye grew wide. "Sir, what about Naruto? You forgot about him in my team." "As a matter of fact, I didn't." There was another Jonin who requested Naruto for an apprenticeship. Kakashi surveyed the area. Guy is too preoccupied with his new mini.me to be interested in anything else. If Asuma knew Kurenai would pick Hinata, he would have preferred the new Ino. Shika. Show squad. Then who choose the boy? I did. Fucking Cyclops. When Kakashi turned, Anko was staring at him as if she were going to murder him. Now, in order to avoid more issues, a normal person would look away and remain silent, but this is Kakashi. It's not appropriate to say, Anko, Shan, very nice prank, now can I get my student back? I don't know if you heard well, Kakashi, but I took the kid as my apprentice. What makes you even think that you have any rights to him? Kakashi's gaze grew strained. But I need him, in order to spike Sasuke into training. Anko's voice was poisoned. So you would sacrifice Naruto for that prick, Sasuke? That is low, Kakashi. Way too low, even for you, she said. Sasuke is the last Uchiha. He needs all the help he can get. Besides, who cares about that boy anyway? Not like he is that much impressive. The room became silent. Then everyone laughed at the man's folly, including the Hokage. What? A startled Kakashi asked. Kakashi, he not only is better than Sasuke, he was given the title of Rookie of the Year. He got a perfect score, and that is not counting with the extra points for that extra jutsu. The Hokage responded. Kakashi's eyes grew wide. He was so stunned that he remained motionless. Anko's yell, can we finish this reunion? I have a horny hot MILF waiting for me, had the desired effect, as Kurenai shook her head at her actions and all the males flew back with nosebleeds. It was Sarutobi who realized his mistake first. He then pushed a button on his desk as the Jonins exited the room, saying, very well, you are all dismissed. Sent in, the cleaning people. There was a major accident here. Later that evening, Mizuki was being followed by Naruto. He saw the man stealing that enormous scroll from the Hokage's tower during their meeting, and he was very easy to follow. Mizuki was extremely fortunate that one of the Jonin arrived late, causing the meeting to take place just as he was about to take the scroll. Another reason to be on time at all times. In any case, he would attack, but he reasoned that if I hit him now, he could claim that I attacked him without cause, which could be problematic given the large number of untrustworthy Anbu in this area. I must wait. He thus trailed Mizuki until they came to a forest. I'm forced to use serpent jutsu because I can't use my fire jutsu here. Plenty of room to kick his ass. Then he launched the blow. Hello, Mizuki. Sensei. When Mizuki heard the voice, he leapt out of his skin. Then he turned and saw Naruto standing there. Oh, Naruto. I was just reviewing this scroll for the next class. Really, is that the best you could come up with? Pathetic. I saw you stealing that scroll, you traitor, said Naruto. Then Mizuki became serious. Mizuki hurled a gigantic shuriken at Naruto, saying, I see. You are far too dangerous now, Naruto. I think I will kill you, afterwards. After avoiding it, Naruto hurled 5 shuriken at Mizuki. Mizuki leapt, but Naruto extended his hand while he was in the air. Mizuki heard, serpent hand, as 4 enormous serpents, much to his horror, materialized in Naruto's arm and bit him forcefully. Mizuki let out a painful gasp. Naruto wanted to question him, so he was fortunate that the people he summoned weren't poisonous, but it still hurt. Then Naruto drew him nearer. Gazing directly into Mizuki's eyes, Naruto questioned, who are you working for? Oh, Orochimaru, Sama, a terrified Mizuki exclaimed. Naruto asked in a chilly tone, so you were going to give one of our most prized scrolls, the one containing forbidden jutsu, to your butt buddy? Shut up, Kyuubi. After standing motionless, Naruto asked in a startled tone, what did you said? As Mizuki shouted, I said shut up Kyuubi. He stabbed one of the serpents with a kunai, causing it to puff. Before they were harmed, Naruto returned the other serpents. You think, you think that I'm the Kyuubi? Oh, this is hilarious. I have to tell this one? Mizuki watched in disbelief as Naruto performed a summoning jutsu. Isn't he supposed to be cowering in terror? Rather, he was giggling. Hikari and Viper emerged from a cloud of smoke. Naruto, we. He gestured to Mizuki, who turned to face him. Not yet, girls, there is something that is far too hilarious for me not to tell. You see Mizuki over there? Just called me Kyuubi. After a brief period of silence, both of them sniggered, which quickly escalated into full-fledged laughter as they rolled on the ground. Viper wiped a tear from the corner of her eye and exclaimed, oh, that was priceless. Yeah. Wait, I have an idea. Viper, summon your dad as I summon my mom, they should hear this. One started chanting while the other started performing hand seals. Suddenly, there was a loud puff of smoke, and Kaisei and Shidong emerged from the smoke. Shidong exclaimed, what is the problem, my daughter? Yes, my child. What is the problem? Inquired Hikari, who was just as concerned. You must hear this, exclaimed Hikari and Viper simultaneously. Nam Mizuki was terrified that there would be no tomorrow. A massive 6 tailed fox and a gigantic snake were standing there. What the hell? What should I do at this point? The two giants burst out laughing as he thought that. Shidong laughed. Stupid human. Naruto may be powerful, but he is way too far from Kyuubi's power, as he observed. Kaisei roared with laughter. He is rather foolish, isn't he? To compare one to the other? Mizuki said. What are you laughing about? In a terrified tone. The boy you so nicely complimented by calling him my mate's name is only his container, said Kaisei. With a glance into Mizuki's eyes, Shidong exclaimed, wait, my enthusiastic companion. I don't think he said that as a compliment. They both glanced at Mizuki, who swallowed hard at the news. Mama. Afterward, a few minutes of Mizuki ping-pong. Mizuki lay on the ground, severely burned and covered in blood. He was completely battered. After the game, two extremely contented titans were stretching on the sidelines. You win this time, old serpent, but next time I will win. I will show you what the Fox clan can do in a game of human ping-pong, screamed a furious Kaisei. Sure you will. Anyway, Viper, remember what I said. You too, Hikari. Both vanished in a puff of smoke after that. Naruto turned to see two partners who were flushed. Naruto, who was still unaware, questioned, what did they mean by that? Well, let's take this somewhere else, Naruto, Viper exclaimed while continuing to blush. Yeah, maybe you're home, please, Hikari pleaded. Naruto turned to the bushes and said, okay, but first, then. Iruka. Sensei, could you take this back to the Hokage Tower? Tell them it was Mizuki and that you did it. Maybe it will give you a very well-earned raise. Iruka was stunned. Naruto discovered that he was in the bushes at what point? Naruto and the girls had already fled before he could ask. At the house of Naruto. When Naruto and his charming friends arrived home, they discovered it was deserted. Before reading a paper in the refrigerator, Naruto assumed the worst. To Naruto, please. I'm spending the night with Anko for two reasons. First, you and the girls need to talk about something important, and second, Anko and I need some alone time. I'll see you in the morning, sweetie. I adore my mother. Then Naruto noticed another message on the refrigerator. Hi, shrimp. It doesn't take an Einstein to figure out why your mom is spending the night at my house. You and the girls need some privacy, and I'm going to beat your mother so hard that she keeps you up at night. I adore Anko. At this, Naruto started to perspire. Anko was fine with that. She pretended to say, fuck what is proper, while Miko attempted to give him the more appropriate version. Nevertheless, he considered the two to be family, his two moms. But now Hikari and Viper were both extremely anxious. After reading the messages, they could see that everyone was trying. However, neither was going to back down now. In an attempt to calm herself, Viper said, Naruto, please go to the bedroom. Hikari and I will be there shortly. Naruto complied without question, much to the relief of the two girls. Then Viper turned to face Hikari. So, shall we do it? Hikari gave a nod. Then Hikari made some hand gestures while Viper chanted. Advanced henge. Anthropomorphic form. Was then shouted by both. It was beginning to irritate Naruto. All day, he had been anticipating this, and now he was waiting even longer. His mouth dropped to the ground as the doors opened, just as he was about to get up and go outside to ask what was wrong. At the door were the world's most exquisite creatures. Like Hikari, the first one had two foxy ears on top of her head, a fox like tail waving behind her, and an orange furred body that resembled a furry goddess. Her ass was round, and her breasts were D-cup size. A scaled goddess was the next. Green scales covered her body. Her tail appeared larger, but her arms and legs were somewhat smaller. Like Viper, her head was shaped like a pear. Compared to the first one, she had a much rounder ass and a C-cup size. All in all, these girls were really attractive. As Naruto gazed at them, Hikari and Viper both burst out laughing at his expression. In fact, he was salivating over them. Viper exclaimed, I take it you like what you see, Naruto-kun, in an alluring manner. You better. We didn't get like this for nothing, after all, Hikari said with assurance after observing Naruto's response to them. Naruto didn't recognize those two until later. Hikari? Viper? How? As she approached Naruto, Viper explained, our summon clans have a special advanced henge that allows the user to have a more human form. But the thing is, we only use it when we reveal ourselves to a human lover. This was too much for Naruto's brain to handle. He was stunned. After Viper gave Hikari the signal, Hikari grabbed Naruto's face and they shared a three-way kiss. The girls exchanged glances. Right now, as they leapt to their feet and bit Naruto on the collarbone on one side, they both yelled in their minds. When Naruto gasped in shock, he discovered that there was only a slight warmth on his collarbone and no pain at all. Then he had a craving and bit Hikari first. He bit Viper after he withdrew. He noticed a mark on their collarbone, and they both gasped as he bit them. The three of them then fell asleep soundly on the bed as darkness overtook them. Alongside Miko. After having sex, Miko was strapped to her bed and gasping for air. Anko joined Miko in bed while setting a big double-sided vibrator they had just used on the table. "Do you think they are fine?" she heard Miko ask as she untied her. Anko grinned. "You know the ninja code. Old enough to kill, besides, he is getting the riding of his life, of course he is fine." Miko sighed at Anko's thought process, but she was most likely correct. As she embraced her and they both fell asleep, she made the decision to stop thinking. In the office of the Hokage, Sarutobi was lying on the ground with a massive nosebleed. A crystal ball on the table displayed Naruto's room and its occupants. He had discovered the sex scene of his life while attempting to see how he was doing. Thus, he desired the advanced henge scroll for that reason. The following morning, Naruto awoke to the sensation of two weights on top of him. When he opened his eyes, he saw Viper and Hikari cuddling up to him in their advanced henge states. When he turned to face the two, he noticed that they both had a blue spiral like tattoo where he had defeated them the night before. It was his mate mark, and he knew it. Then from the door he heard a low whistle. With mock tears in her eyes, Anko exclaimed, "Niece, shrimp. You got two hot pussies clinging hard to you and you were only 12. I am so proud of you." Miko angrily whispered, "Anko, get out," and forced Anko out of the bedroom. She did, however, give the girls one last look before she left. She left after saying, "She is right, that's two nice pieces of ass if I ever seen any." Naruto was as red as a tomato. He wasn't yelling or moving because he didn't want to wake the girls just yet. "I'm going to get you for this, Anko," he thought to himself. "And when I do, you will die of humiliation, so may God have mercy on your soul." His two girls woke up at that moment. When they opened their eyes, they looked up at Naruto, grinned, and planted a three-dot-way kiss on the blonde. Naruto relished this, but he had to remind himself that they had to get up as soon as Hikari began to lift her breasts toward his face and Viper's tail began to coil around his member. Naruto grunted with pleasure as he said, "Girls, keep in mind that we must go to the academy to find out which team we are on." Hikari pouted, "Damn, and now that we were just starting," he said. Viper smiled like a predator and said, "I agree, Hikari, but Naruto is right. Besides, we can have him tonight." The smile made Naruto shudder. Then both girls grinned as they glanced at the collarbone. "You should check out the new tattoos, Naruto. I think you are going to love it." After getting up, Naruto went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. There was a red fox howling at the right side of his collarbone. A green viper was coiled on the left. "They are cool, but you two have got a tattoo of your own," Naruto replied. The girls chose to examine each other's tattoos rather than use the restroom. It was the same because it was from the same individual. They adored it. Then a voice was heard by the three. "Hey, are you three rutting up there or what?" Anko, the three were thought of. After that, Naruto changed into his new, authentic ninja gear. There's no more excuse to play around. It was time to demonstrate to others that he took his dream of becoming Hokage very seriously. His ninja outfit consisted of a green Jonin style jacket, a bark blue shirt, and dark blue cargo pants. He wore dark blue ninja shoes, a green cloth headband, and sleeves that were slightly loose on his shirt so the serpents could emerge when he used his serpent hand. He also had a scroll in each pocket. He appeared more mature, professional, and unquestionably more powerful, and both Hikari and Viper grinned at the transformation. Since he no longer wore the open jacket, Hikari moved to his neck, and Viper moved to her new location around his waist, where she could pass for a belt. After that, Naruto leapt through the window and became stuck on the wall using his chakra. As usual, the window was open when he descended to the next one. Then he shouted, "Good morning," as he went through it. Miko and Anko both grinned at Naruto. Anko then sniggered, trying to look like most Jonins would. "Shrimp? You are still a genin." "I know, but these makes others see I'm serious about becoming Hokage. Besides, I like the clothes," replied Naruto. "And no matter what, a ninja is always allowed to wear what he wants," replied Miko. "That is why you, my dear Anko, are allowed to use such provocative clothes." "I suppose." Anko sighed in defeat. However, she saw an opportunity and waited for Naruto to begin eating his pancake. Viper also slithered to the table to begin eating, as did Hikari. "So, how was the best rump of your life?" is what everyone wants to know. The only response from the three unprepared victims was to gag on the food. Miko gave Enko a stern look as they coughed. You had to do it when they're eating? Enko exclaimed, hell yes. Their expressions were priceless. Reiterating his threat to get her and humiliate her, Naruto glared at Enko. However, Hikari and Viper grinned. It was amazing. I didn't know one could sew such things with an advanced henge, exclaimed a delighted Hikari. Enko became intrigued. What did he do? Then Viper crept up to her and listened to her in a whisper. Enko's face took on a perverse grin. Dada boy, I'm so proud. Then Miko cleared his throat. Shouldn't you guys go to the academy? After checking the time, Naruto resumed his calm meal. When he and the girls were finished, he made them crawl up his arm and head for the academy, leaping over roofs along the way. Here at the academy. As he began with the teams, Iruka said, all right, everyone. I'm going to read the list of teams now. Let's see Pi. After a while. Team 7. Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno and Sai. Your Junin is Kakashi Hitaki. Sasuke performed the HN, the traditional Uchiha agreement signal. Sakura let out a pig-like squeal and yelled that true love overcomes all obstacles, among other bizarre things. When Sai said, what? Stop looking at me, I'm not showing you my penis. Everyone erupted in rage, with the exception of 3 people who were in the ceiling and were silently laughing. Moving on, next we have Team 8, Shino Aburame, Hinata Hyuga and Kiba Inuzuka. Your Junin is Kurenai Yuhi. Kiba snickered, Shino nodded his head, and Hinata, well, acted as usual. Okay, Team 9 is still in circulation. So we go for Team 10, Ino Yamanaka, Shoji Akamichi and Shikamaru Nara. Your Junin is Asuma Sarutobi. Shoji appeared somewhat saddened by Ino's head bang, but he covered it with his bag of chips. Shikamaru slept. Ino then held up her hand. Sir, what about Naruto? Iruka was about to respond to her when Sasuke chose to be a jerk and beat him to it. He probably cheated and was forced to stay another year. I should have known no one was better than Uchiha. Hey, Teme no stick. Flipper. If you look up you will see the guy that can and will beat the crap out of you if you don't shut up. Naruto was hanging upside down from the ceiling when everyone turned to look where the voice was coming from. Sasuke was furious about this. Girls had hearts in their eyes, and men whistled during the performance. Dobi. How can you walk on the ceiling? I demand you to teach me, I'm Uchiha, whimpered Sasuke. Yeah, Naruto, teach Sasuke what he wants, barked a pink-haired banshee who was equally obnoxious. Then Naruto faced Iruka. Iruka. Sensei, those two just created a new jutsu. Whining like a bitch no jutsu. It's annoying and deadly I tell you. This made everyone laugh. Sasuke became enraged. Udobi. You should feel proud that I, a Uchiha, is asking you, a nobody, to teach me. Well, if I am a nobody and you are a big bad Uchiha, then you don't need me, Naruto said calmly as he turned to face him. Naruto. Baka. You are just an orphan loser. Your parents were probably ashamed of you and left you behind. Viper and Hikari came to life at the sound of those words. Sakura was forced to punch herself after Viper threw herself at her. Hikari was getting ready for a jutsu move. When she was ready, Hikari yelled, Kitsune bye, and Viper let Sakura go. Sakura was sent to the ground after being burned by a tiny flame in her chest. How many times do we have to tell you? Akamaru would have gotten it the first time and he wouldn't need the beating. Hikari screamed in rage. As Sakura said, you will not say anything bad about Naruto-kun. Viper slithered over her and began prodding her head. She concluded with a large tail slap. Then both returned to Naruto's control. Naruto looked expectantly at Iruka and said, there now, that is enough. Haruno. Teme must have learned her lesson this time. Come on. Iruka has yet to tell us what is going to happen now. Iruka gave a headshake. Naruto will always be Naruto. Then his eyes grew wide as he glanced at the paper. What the hell? Naruto. You were taken as an apprentice by Anko Mitarashi. The room was silent. Everyone had heard of Anko and was silently praying for Naruto. However, Naruto said the most unexpected thing. Awesome. I get Anko as a teacher again, isn't that great, girls? In her typically composed tone, Viper said, very much so. If we have Anko, we are sure to cause chaos and havoc wherever we go. Yeah. No hold back, just spreading pure destruction and embarrassment, Hikari screamed. The children stared at the three in disbelief. Were these men insane? Kiba said, dude, You are in over your head, as he approached Naruto. Anko will fucking neuter you with a rusted kunai if you piss her off. Naruto questioned, really? Last time I checked, it was with a spoon. Hikari remarked, no, Naruto-kun, it was with a piece of wire. You are both wrong, she threatened to give the guy's balls to her snakes, replied Viper. Kiba shook his head after glancing at the three. You are the dead man, not me. Well, not really, Naruto protested. After that, he called Shino and said, listen up, Kurenai is a man. Hater except for Asuma. The reason why is that Asuma saved her from some guys that tried to rape her. In resume, you guys are screwed. Kiba exclaimed, come on, she can't be that bad. Naruto gave him a look. Kiba, even if she doesn't do anything against you, she will most likely focus on the girl of your group, Hinata. And while she needs help as being the weakest of you three, she will do her best to ignore you guys. Shino said, that could be problematic. If we can't learn with Kurenai, we are only allowed to get training from our clans. But even there, learning only clan jutsu can be a disadvantage against people who know how to counter-attack our clan's techniques. Yeah, besides, Mom is more focused on sis because she is going to be clan head, so I won't get that much training, complained Kiba. Well, what about you guys train with me and Anko? They both looked at Naruto. What, are you sure? Yes, she isn't that bad, just a bit sadistic and a slave driver, but she will get you tougher than any other teacher would, guaranteed. You saw how I performed in the Genin exams. Shino and Kiba exchanged glances. A teacher who is cruel is preferable to one who ignores their students. I think I'll take you on that offer, but only sometimes. Me too. After all, everything one can learn is never enough, Shino remarked at work using his typical reasoning. Naruto looked down after grinning. Where is Hikari? And where is Viper? With Hikari. Currently, Hikari was dragging an unhappy Ino out of the room to have a conversation. Look, me and Viper saw that you are interested in Naruto, and you are here to help me get him. Thank you so much, shouted Ino. Hikari gave a headshake. No, it's just, you are going to tell me something important about him. Hikari was staring at Ino with twitching eyes. Why wasn't I able to speak with Hinata once more? No, you stupid fangirl, Naruto is taken already. Ino was stunned. What? By whom? Then Hikari gestured to herself. You? Yes, me and Viper, by the use of this, Hikari said, turning to her, private time. Form and starting a series of hand gestures. Looking at her, Ino was stunned. Ino said, so, I don't have a chance? Hikari came back and replied, come on, quit being so dramatic already. You are beautiful Nat, I can tell when you were older you were going to be smoking hot. So stop being so down, you will find someone. But who? Sasuke is a lost cause after all. Billboard is already an advantage and Naruto is taken. First, Sakura has no chance with Sasuke, he is gay. Second, there are more boys than Sasuke and Naruto. What about that Akamichi? Choji? You are kidding, he only cares about food. You may think that, but I could see the hurtful expression on his face when you banged with your head on the table. He cares about you. Besides, quit judging the book by the cape, it didn't came anything good from that until now. Then Ino turned to the kitsune. She was correct. Perhaps she ought to give Choji a chance. Who knows, perhaps she will find something appealing about him. Thanks, Hikari. As she was leaving, Hikari couldn't help but think, I'm never going to do this again. She nodded, sure. Don't mention it. Just take your training seriously now, too. With Viper. Viper turned to face Hinata and said, come here, Hinata. We need to talk. An anxious Hinata said, what? T is it, VV, Viper. This was going to be difficult, Viper sighed. Hinata, I noticed you have an interest for Naruto. I want you to know that he has taken in. Now. More. Active and menacing Hinata cried out, what? Who is she? Viper swallowed. Perhaps I ought to have chosen Ino. Look, Hinata, it's me and Hikari. And before you kill me, there is something you need to know. With her white eyes, Hinata gave the small snake a menacing glare. Naruto had a very hard life. Me and Hikari have been with him since we are 5, we know his suffering and pain. He was attacked by people he is now forced to protect. Even though Hinata's eyes grew wide, she could still hear him. You think Naruto is going to support you, to be there for you. But he too needs support. He needs us. There is no easy way to say this, but you would be a harder burden on him, emotionally speaking. Hinata broke down in tears. I knew I was weak. I'm so useless. No, that is not it. You are a wonderful person, just not what is best for Naruto. Look, There are more guys than Naruto who would gladly be with you. Who? Well, Kiba. He may be a bit of a knucklehead, but he has a great heart and is faithful as a dog. What else can you ask for? Then Hinata considered it. Kiba never gave up on anyone he thought of as a friend, and she was correct. Although he was silly, he was entertaining. You were right. I know I am. Now come on, back in class. We have to wait for our teachers. Back in the classroom. When Viper and Hikari slithered his way and ended up in their usual locations, Naruto was still searching for them. There you are. What the fuck were you two doing? We were getting rid of some competition and playing matchmakers, exclaimed an overjoyed Hikari. At her antics, Naruto shook his head. Then, as a kunai passed a few millimeters from his face, he froze for a moment before leaping to the right. Reaction time. Satisfactory. Choose of evading technique. Undesirable. You are getting sloppy, shrimp. Anko was on the ceiling when Naruto looked up. That is because I wasn't expecting you to attack me like that, you crazy snake lady. Anko gave Naruto a smile. Simply put, it was too much fun to ruin. But that is the thing about ninja life. You got to expect the unexpected. At this, Naruto complained. So, let's go, he then said. Anko smiled once more. Impatient for your torture, huh? Fine, go to training ground 44. I'll be there, in the tower at the middle of it. Iruka went pale. The Death Forest? There is no chance for Naruto. Naruto smiled. Fine. See you there in a bit. After that, Anko vanished and Naruto departed through the window. A now uncertain Kiba asked, you still think it is worth to train with those two? My logic says yes, because by the skills they demonstrate, their method works. However, I cannot stop being nervous about the idea myself, replied Shino. In the Forest of Death, in the tower. Anko was waiting for her apprentice while enjoying some dango. He's running late. Where the hell is my dango? What is he? Anko looked down and saw that the plate of dango had vanished, replaced by a card with a spiral encircling a green serpent and a red fox. Anko had burning eyes. Gaki, give me back my dango. She was unable to locate Naruto, but she asked, what will I gain with it? Anko screamed, come on, shrimp, this isn't funny. An empty plate dropped to the ground as Naruto said, oh but it is, especially since we hate it already. Anko flung herself to the ground. NNNNNOOO. Bastard, how could you, oh my sweet dango. And, cut. What an incredible performance, was the next thing she heard Naruto say. When Anko looked back, she saw Naruto sitting where she was, her dango on the plate. She then noticed a camera when she turned to face Naruto. When she looked at the ground, she saw nothing. Anko asked incredulously, Genjutsu? You caught me with a genjutsu? Naruto pointed to Hikari and Viper, who were on the opposite side of the room, and said, no, they did. I only caught you on tape. Revenge is so sweet. Then, embarrassed, Anko turned to face the floor. Yeah, you won this one, kid. Naruto was taken aback. You are not going to force me to destroy the tape? Threaten me? Throw a snake or two at me? No. You won this one, fair and square. I may regret this, but you can keep the tape, said Anko. Naruto responded, well, if you insist. Okay kiddo. I have to do some sort of genin exam to you to see if you are good enough to be a genin under my orders. However, it is normally to test teamwork and if I try to test the teamwork of you three, I'm screwed. So this exam is 3 parts. Info gathering, survival skills and the final test, laughed Anko. Naruto gave a shrug. Bring it on, okay, first part, information gathering. You will describe me the genins, the teams and the junins. I will then evaluate your information gathering skills. Does that include Team 9? Because I haven't met them yet, replied Naruto. You are fortunate to have that, and no, Team 9 is not included in the group, just this year's genins. All right, no problem. The majority of genins will fail, but I believe that 3 will succeed, Teams 7, 8, and 10. As I've heard, Kakashi is a kind of Uchiha fanboy and will pass the team just to have Sasuke on it, so I'll start with Team 7. The so-called copy ninja, Kakashi Hatake, used his implanted Sharingan to replicate more techniques than he could recall. He has hair that defies gravity, wears a mask over his face most of the time, and is constantly reading porn. Despite his skill, he is conceited. Inclination towards ninjutsu. The members come next. Sasuke is a pampered jerk who believes he is the owner of everything. Despite his lack of skill, he is regarded as one of the best because the teachers play tricks on him, making things easier for him. Sakura is a worthless banshee with pink hair whose life's work is to boost Sasuke's self-esteem. Though mysterious, Sai is most likely the group's strongest member. They are most likely an assault or strong hit group as a whole. Kurenai is now a Junin on Team 8. Kurenai is currently the youngest Junin and a man. Hater who dates the Hokage's son. I only know that she prefers genjutsu and that she is a little self-conscious. Among them is Hinata, who is currently the team's weakest member due to her shy demeanor and low self-esteem. Viper thought, shy, low self-esteem? She would have killed me if she hadn't given me the chance to explain myself, as Naruto said that. She has the Byakugan because she is a member of the Hyuga clan. Her only talent is taijutsu. Kiba comes next, because he is an Inuzuka, Akamaru is his partner. Like all Inuzukas, he is a little silly and noisy, however, he has an iron will and good taijutsu skills. If he receives the proper instruction, he has a lot of potential and will succeed. And lastly, Shino. He is logical and intelligent, just like the average Aburame. Despite his lack of physical prowess, he makes up for it with his analytical skills. This group collects information and keeps track of things. Next, Team 10. Given that he doesn't appear to have a favorite field, Junin Asuma is arguably the most balanced of the three Junins. He enjoys playing strategy games like shogi and is a laid-back individual who can be a little lazy. The new Ino. Shika. Cho group is his team. Ino is a fangirl who puts more effort into enhancing her appearance than her abilities. However, I'm confident that she can develop into a strong kunoichi if she lets go of her fangirl tendencies. Oh, she will become a better kunoichi, sooner than you believe, Hikari grinned at this. Next up is Choji. The typical Akamichi is a large man who is constantly eating but is still kind. He possesses the skills necessary to develop into a powerful ninja. Shikamaru is incredibly intelligent but just plain lazy. He has already made at least 13 plans, the majority of which are extremely intricate, so he doesn't need to exert any effort. This group is a squad for capture and questioning. Yeah, smiled Anko, good enough, not too bad, child. So, what comes next? Naruto asked. Oh, not much. Anko then stood up and said, come, Naruto. I'll give you a 30-second head start. Just that I'm going to chase you in the forest of death for a few hours. Then it's time to have fun. A few hours later, Hikari and Viper were using their advanced senses to help their poor mate, but even they weren't perfect, and this was just too high. Naruto was on the ground, sweating profusely, and breathing heavily. Anko wasn't kidding. He felt like a rabbit fleeing from a tiger. She would appear in random places and throw a kunai at him, and again. And again, he was getting tired of it. She would also sprang traps against him. Anko suddenly materialized in front of Naruto, holding a kunai in one hand, poised to stab our unfortunate hero when he said, congratulations, Gaki. You made it. What the heck? The allotted time has passed. You're getting pretty good at this, kid. Do I really have to do that final test? Naruto asked, grinning, but then he remembered, the final test. She laughed as she saw him slump. Yes, yes you do. You will enjoy this task, I'm telling you. You now have to play a practical joke on Kakashi. After a moment of silence, Naruto leapt with renewed vigor and exclaimed, really? Yes, in fact. Come on, I'm aware of his location, with Naruto following closely behind. Anko began leaping through the trees. In the center of a road, as he was going about his business, wondering if the new Icha Icha Paradise series had already been released, Kakashi felt someone tug on his sleeve. He turned to see the child he detested the most, and he asked, what do you want, kid? I want you to meet a friend, Naruto said with a smile. Oh really? This is the kid who won Rookie of the Year? Impossible. He is an idiot, Kakashi said, staring at him like a fool. And with whom would you be friends? She would. Naruto then threw Viper at Kakashi, who was moving too slowly, and Viper bit him. Kakashi became lightheaded and collapsed to the ground in a matter of seconds. Time, Viper? He won't wake up for 30 minutes, Viper said. Perfect. After half an hour. When Kakashi woke up, he felt like shit and tried to open his eye but was unable to do so because someone had blindfolded him. Then he felt a hard blow to his balls, which hurt, and then he felt another blow to his head. What the fuck is going on in here? It seems that Naruto had sneaked Kakashi into the hot springs women's area, stripped him naked, bound him, blindfolded him, gagged him, and placed a sign that read, I'm a pervert trying to quit. Hit me, please. The women were beating the living daylights out of Kakashi because they genuinely thought that because of his celebrity. Anko was rolling on the ground, laughing heartily, while Naruto stood far away, showing him what he had done with a photo he had taken right before he left. Oh my goodness, kid, that was really amazing. You pass, congratulations. I now have to go meet the Hokage and inform him of the prank and the news. She vanished with a whirl of leaves before Naruto could speak. At the office of the Hokage, there, Anko had just materialized. I hope I don't arrive late, with a cheerful tone, Anko said. Hiruzen responded, no, we are still waiting for Kakashi. Oh, the guy isn't coming, so you can wait until tomorrow. Anko said this just before she started laughing. What do you mean, Anko? Every Junin regarded her as crazy. When Anko pulled out the picture and showed it to everyone, there was a pause, followed by a PFF, as Kurenai lost it, and then everyone started laughing at the practical joke, with remarks like, nicely done, and, he deserved it, being made. Furthermore, you're not the best. Everyone turned to face her. The best part is that Naruto did this, not me. Sarutobi wiped a tear from his eye and said, how did Naruto find the time to do that after your test? There was a new round of laughter, though some were furious at the demon's boldness. But it was the test, Hokage. Sama. Some were laughing so hard they were clutching their stomachs. Excellent, Anko. Before you kill every Junin of laughter, you can go now. Anko vanished in a whirlwind of leaves after that. Anko has been teaching Naruto every trick she knows for the past week. She learned that he possessed 3 elements. Electricity, wind, and fire. Together, they created an element that Kyuubi named plasma. It appeared to be fire at a tremendous speed, but unlike fire, it could be created from air, much like wind. It was the real aspect of Kyuubi and the reason his roars appeared to be power beams. As a result, Naruto learned one technique for each element: Thunder Style, Lightning Spear, Wind Style, Great Breakthrough, and Fire Style, Fire Dragon Jutsu. Kyuubi taught him Plasma Style, Plasma Volleys Jutsu, a Plasma Jutsu. Viper had advanced in her clan arts. She now possessed the Stare of Illusions, which, like the Sharingan, gave her the ability to create an illusion in someone simply by gazing at them. Using this technique also gave her the ability to control that person. It was by accident that she discovered this power. Flashback. Oh, come on. Why is this so complicated? I thought the stare would take me some minutes, but it has been 2 hours and nothing, replied Viper. She threw her book on the ground because she was so angry. Naruto entered the space. What is wrong, Viper? Are you alright? Yeah, I thought that learning the illusion stare would be easy, but it is so difficult, said Viper. Well, don't worry, I know you can do it. You are probably stressed and that is why it is not working. Viper gave a nod. Indeed, that might be the case. I'm under stress. I wish I could get a massage right now. Unbeknownst to Naruto, her stare of illusions had been triggered. Naruto approached her, touched her snake-like body, and began rubbing it. Before closing them, drowsy and feeling better than ever, Viper's eyes widened. He seems to have read my thoughts. My goodness. But hold on a minute. She opens her eye languidly and gazes into Naruto's eyes. He appears to be practicing genjutsu. I succeeded. My stare of illusions is mine. He also gives amazing massages. Hikari entered the room and said, Hey, Viper, have you seen Naruto? Number fair. I go out and you get a massage. I want one too. Naruto was actually awakened by this since Viper's control over the technique was still lacking. What happened? End of flashback. She learned the Fang of slow weakness in addition to having more control over her technique. One who was struck by this method would gradually lose strength until they were unable to continue. It was a lethal force. Water Style. Water Snake Strike was another skill she acquired. They developed collaboration jutsu. Hydro. Electric Snake Strike in conjunction with Naruto's Thunder Style jutsu. Neither was Hikari a sloth. She acquired the Talisman spell, which gave her the ability to use the yin-yang symbol to erect a wall around herself and other people. She also developed a second tail, which allowed her to use Foxtail Fireball, a minor technique that threw the tails at the opponent while creating fire from their tips. Since Foxtail Inferno is the real technique, it was minor and is actually a pre-technique. But you need at least 6 tails to use that. She eventually mastered the genjutsu known as the Kitsune Perception Filter, which made any kitsune totally invisible. It was clear that their sizes had changed. Hikari now reached over his knee, and Viper, who was a little longer, was able to wrap herself around his torso and rest her head on his left shoulder. It was a relief that their sophisticated jutsu did not alter in size. Really, Naruto didn't want to share a bed with 2 giants. It would present some challenges. Shino and Kiba would occasionally train with that, but they quickly discovered that the training was difficult and that they needed to quicken their pace. Nevertheless, Kiba became proficient in taijutsu and learned Thunder Style, Lightning Sparks. Shino gained strength in taijutsu and learned Earth Style, Mud Wall. Neither Naruto nor Anko completed any D-rank missions. When Naruto inquired as to why, Miko replied, D-rank missions are for genins to work their teamwork. As you and your girls already have perfect teamwork, and you don't have any other genin in the team, it is useless to do these missions. Besides, this so-called missions are chores from the lazy-ass civilians who can't just do the jobs themselves because they are too busy complaining about everything. Anko responded to Naruto's question about why they hadn't done any C-rank missions by saying, Sarutobi asked us to wait a few months before doing any C-rank mission. Until then, I'm gonna pound you to the ground with training. She did, too. For this reason, they were prepared to receive their first mission while standing in front of the Hokage Tower. Remember Shrimp, even if it is a C rank, don't get your hopes up. It is probably some escort mission to some boring place. The best we can hope is for some stupid missing nin to come and mess with us, and even then most missing nins don't attack random people, said Anko. Yeah, still I can't stop but be excited, you know. It might be boring, but still it is awesome that I finally get my first mission, said a happy Naruto. Indeed, even though training is good, it is also good to do a mission. Getting pied would come in handy for us, Viper replied. Hikari exclaimed, yeah, because then Naruto can buy some treats for us. Candy. Viper, Naruto, and Anko all started to perspire. As he and Anko began to enter the Hokage Tower, with Hikari slithering to his left and Viper slithering to his right, Naruto remarked, you are too much addicted to candy, you know that? But I love candy. It is so sweet. But I love candy, Hikari begged, and I never complained about your ramen addiction. Hey, ramen is the food of gods. You shouldn't joke about it, said Naruto. Anko sighed and shook her head, and don't you start, sensei, your addiction to dango can't be good. They both turned to face her. Anko shouted, hey, don't get dango involved. Viper chuckled during the subsequent conversation. They had arrived at the Hokage's office by that point, and he and Iruka were staring at them as if they were all insane. Silently, Viper slithered toward Iruka. Good morning, Iruka. Sensei. Iruka said, good morning, Viper. What's all this about? Food. Iruka and Sarutobi both started to perspire when Viper said that, and a fight broke out between the three. Dango, ramen, and candy were shouted. Iruka, who was shocked to see the only person in the group acting rationally, asked, why aren't you in the middle of that fight? Iruka and Sarutobi nodded in agreement as Viper questioned, why would I fight about food? It's pointless. Besides, nothing beats barbecued pork. The room was silent. Then, turning to face Viper, Naruto, Anko, and Hikari shouted, liar. Viper squinted and lunged into the altercation. Fangs, claws, arms, and legs became entangled in a bizarre battle, and as they fought, a cartoon cloud of dust formed around them. Iruka grew tired of the show when Sarutobi's pipe fell. All right, stop that. Didn't you come to get a mission? What if the client saw you behaving like that? Everything returned to normal in an instant. In a line, Naruto, Anko, Hikari, and Viper appeared as clean as if they had just finished a fight. Taking his pipe from the floor, Sarutobi blinked and remarked, I'm glad you were here, I have a mission for you. Sarutobi opened a drawer as the others began to get excited, and what was inside? An Icha book. Everyone in the room laughed at what they saw, and Sarutobi's face flushed. Ups, wrong drawer. I would ask you not to tell this to anybody, please. You are lucky we are the only woman in this room and that we don't really care about your choice in books, old man, laughed Anko. Because with that type of material, you could get yourself in serious shit with the feminine side. Sarutobi opened another drawer and coughed into his hand. Huh, here it is, he said, bringing a mission request to the table. I want you to read it, Anko. Anko picked it up and began to read. Then, pointing to the signature, Anko said, Sir, I think you got the wrong scroll. This scroll's mission has already been taken, see the signature of Kakashi here. Unsure of how to approach them, Sarutobi looked at both of them and said, yes, I'm aware of that. You see, Kakashi thought his students were ready for a C-rank mission and I gave him that one. However, it seems that the mission was not a C rank, but actually an A rank. So, call them back and send an Anbu team, I'm sure they can take care of it, Anko exclaimed, failing to understand the purpose of the conversation. That is the way written in the protocol, yes. However, it seems Kakashi's team doesn't wish to abandon this mission and request only some backup. At that moment, Team Anko realized what he was going for and gave Sarutobi a hateful glare. You mean to tell me we have to help this perverted, useless, ego-driven Cyclops and his team of losers? Why not send an Anbu team? I know you don't like the situation, but I have plenty of reasons for this. 1. My Anbu teams are out and the only Junins I have here are out of duty at the moment. More than that, this job comes with some bonus for both of you. This piqued the interest of both ninja. I will grant you, Anko, captain status. This means that while on this mission, you are on charge. Even of Kakashi. Should Kakashi or any of the genin show any disrespect or disobeys you, you are allowed to handle the required punishment that goes through a written report about his or her behaviors to a full charge on the students, which then is going to be evaluated by me, who will decide the final fate of the of Junin. To you, Naruto, I will grant you the second in command status. Just like the name says, you are second in command and not even Kakashi is above you. You have the same privileges as Anko, with the added rule that Anko is still above you. Sir, is it wise to put Naruto at that chain of command? Replied Iruka. He is just a genin. Sarutobi asked Naruto, in a voice that made Naruto react robotically. Naruto, if your students went against you in an order, what would you do? I would knock out said student, write a report about hers, their behavior, and then I would keep the student in permanent restraint while I carry on the orders. Sarutobi uttered the words, see, Iruka. Naruto is a genin and yet shows a better judgment than Kakashi. Surely such a person should be in charge. As though he were stating the most important thing, but wait, he is. As he considered it, Iruka said, I guess. Sarutobi said, anyway, you got your orders, any questions? Sir, exclaimed Viper. If it is an A-rank mission, do we get the payment of it or is it cut in half because it's a joint mission? The Hokage handed them a piece of paper and said, well, since Kakashi is not following the protocol, I would say the money goes to your team. And if Kakashi complains, don't worry, show him this seal. And he will quiet down about it. Sir, what about us? Will we get any authority or is it just Naruto and Anko? Replied Hikari. Well, since you are considered summons, you get as much authority as your summoners. So you get as much authority as Naruto. However, try not to abuse of that privilege, would you? Okay. Both girls exclaimed. Sarutobi said, no more questions? Then go to the land of waves, dismissed, as they walked out of its office. Alongside Naruto and Anko. Anko disappeared in a puff of smoke, saying, okay, Naruto. Get ready anything that may be necessary. If when I reach the gates you don't have the right things packed, I will force you to stay while I do this mission. With Hikari running to his right and Viper slithering to his left, Naruto started to run, shouting, fine, come on girls, let's pack things up. At the gates. In an attempt to give Naruto time to get ready, Anko was making his way to the gates. When she saw him sleeping on the ground with Viper curled around him, Hikari on his lap, and no bag at all, she was a little taken aback. Anko looked at the three and said, so where are your stuff? Naruto took out a scroll and said, here. I have 50 shurikens, 40 kunai and 20 explosive papers. I also have 2 tents in case you forgot yours and also I have a lighter and for food I have some packed meals, which in the scroll don't rotten, that will allow both of us a meal for at least 2 weeks, which is more than enough time to get to the land of waves and be back, since we will probably be there in 3 days or something. Anko grinned. Miko taught you well. She always packed more than she needed in a scroll because then she was ready for anything. Good job, Shrimp, I'm proud of you, now, let's move. Then Anko took off running, followed closely by Naruto, Hikari, and Viper. Just a bit ahead. Sasuke turned to face Kakashi and yelled, what are we waiting for? Let's just move out already, we don't need any backup. Yeah, Kakashi. Sensei. Let's just go, the backup team is probably some losers, we don't need them, shouted Sakura. Shut up you ugly whore. Your ugly pink hair is already a beacon in the middle of this woods, we don't need your deafening voice to attract more enemies. Sai spoke without any emotion. Sai receives a cookie for that. While reading porn, Kakashi was reprimanded in a childish voice, saying, Sai, don't be like that with your partners. He looked at the others after that. I'm sorry, but we will have to wait for the Anbu team to get here and then we can move on. Are you sure those Anbu are coming? I really need protection, you know, replied Tazuna. Who said anything about an Anbu team? Anko was standing there when everyone turned. Kakashi said, oh, Anko-chan, so you are my backup? Anko calmly remarked, yeah, me and the Gaki who is burning your precious book. Kakashi's hand was empty when he looked at it. He turned to see Naruto burning his book close to the fire. He let out the world's loudest girl scream before getting his Chidori ready to murder Naruto. Anko said sweetly, Kakashi, you don't want to attack your superior, do you? Confused, Kakashi said, what are you talking about? Anko explained, I mean, Naruto and I are your superiors, while displaying the Hokage's paper to him. Incredulously, Kakashi activated the seal, extracted a scroll, and read the truth. At that moment, Sasuke made the decision to be a jerk. Sasuke yelled, him? I don't accept orders from him. I demand to be team leader, before Naruto materialized and struck him in the face, knocking him to the ground. Naturally, if Viper hadn't wrapped herself around Sakura's neck, this would have caused a lot of banshee screams. Naruto's voice was so serious that it would have scared Orochimaru. Sasuke, I have the authority to end your career as a ninja. So you and your pink-haired man whore better show me some respect or things will not end well for you. Tazuna was stunned. What the hell? Why wasn't I initially assigned to this team? They are fucking stronger than the whining bitches I had as my first team, in addition to being more professional. As she watched the pitiful show, Anko said, I hope your team gets the rules soon or this shit will end badly, Kakashi. Then Naruto turned to face Sai, who was approaching him. Then Sai held out his hand. I would like to thank you for shutting up that sorry excuse of a kunoichi. Startled, Naruto grinned and shook his hand. I'm glad someone from this team is sane. I would hate to have to teach all of you a lesson. Yes, I realize that you are far superior in your skill if you were able to prank Anbu and the Hyugas. Naruto's gaze expanded. You know about that? Yes, I made a research about all the genins in case I would ever had to work with them so I could adapt to them, Sai replied. Naruto gave that a nod. Sai didn't seem like such a bad guy to him. Perhaps he could persuade Anko to ask Sai to join their team. The man would be useful because he appeared to have a strong analytical ability. Anko began to walk, saying, all right, you two, stop talking and get moving. We have a bit of walking to do before we reach the land of waves. Everyone resumed walking after Naruto yelled, you heard her, move, right away. There was silence until Anko approached Kakashi and inquired, so, what made you ask for backup? We found the demon brothers on the road. I thought it was better to call for help. Anko halted. Wait, you found the demon brothers, and you are still going forward. What the fuck were you thinking? Confused, Kakashi said, what did I do now? Idiot, do you even know who always comes with the demon brothers? Replied Anko. No, Anko exclaimed, Zabuza Momochi, he is a fucking Junin. So, we are too. We can beat him. You don't understand, he is master of the silent kill technique. He is able to kill just by hearing the person. Your genins are nowhere near ready to face that. Kakashi said arrogantly, and yours is? Yes, as a matter of fact, he is. He is ready to face anything you can throw at him. You know why? Because I busted his ass training him every fucking day. I put him through death situations at least once per day. And he keeps asking for more, he keeps going. Your filthy maggots couldn't stay a day of his training, so Kakashi, I'm pretty confident about my genin. She was not really believed by Kakashi. He believed that she was most likely exaggerating her pupil. But then he saw the two-tailed fox trotting beside Naruto. Kakashi shouted, Kyuubi, and tossed some kunai in Hikari's direction. As Kakashi approached her, attempting to stab her with an extra kunai in his hand, Hikari used her tails to deflect the kunais and leapt away. Naruto grabbed his hand, put a knee to his groin, and jabbed his elbow in his face, knocking him down before he could comprehend what was happening. Anko grinned. See what I meant, Kakashi? This kid could have killed you just now, and you ask me if my student is ready? Oh, I think he is. Kakashi stood up. In a firm voice, Kakashi commanded, Naruto, move out of my way so I can kill it. That is an order. He was surprised by the response he received. First, you cannot give me orders, I'm your superior in this mission. Second, Hikari is a she, not an it. Finally, Hikari not only is my summon guardian, she is my mate. What makes you think I would just let you kill her? Kakashi was taken aback. Why? Why? You're mate. Yeah, and is not the only one. Viper over there is my mate too. Are you going to try and kill her too? Because if you are, I might as well get rid of you right now. Kakashi shouted, watch who you are talking to, I'm still a Junin. The only thing that makes you a Junin is that ruby eye, without it, you wouldn't be a challenge to me. Anko said, enough, Naruto. As much as I would like to see you beating the shit out of him, we need to go on so we will reach Tazuna's house today. So they continued. At the river. When they arrived at the river, the boat was too small to accommodate everyone. After assessing the circumstances, Sai suggested that, some of us will have to swim to the other side. Sakura and Sasuke immediately went to the boat and sat there, seemingly declaring, we are too good to swim. Sai, Kakashi, join your team members. Me and Naruto are going by water, Enko said, snorting at their actions. Sasuke grinned. Seems like you are in for a swim, Dobi. Naruto exclaimed, you wish? I'm so awesome I can walk on water. Sasuke appeared taken aback. Can't he? The Dobi is merely attempting to appear calm, it isn't feasible. Sakura seemed to think the same thing. Naruto. Baka, that is impossible. Don't try to look cooler just to get me to date you because I won't. Naruto gave her a look. Haruno-san, you seem to suffer from short memory loss. Didn't I say a moment ago that Viper and Hikari are my mates? Why would I want to date an ugly pink troll with the smallest assets in the world when I can have the most wonderful of mates? When he said that, Viper as well as Hikari blush. Sakura gave a snort. Yeah, right. You are so desperate, you have to date some mindless animals, you are such a loser. A cloud of intent to kill rolled in, thickening the air. The crushing force of it caused everyone to gasp. Naruto, Viper, and Hikari were its three sources, and they appeared to be the only ones unaffected. Anko was as well, but she fled the key's range as soon as she sensed it before it became too much for her. Viper suddenly lost his temper and slithered over to Sakura. She then whipped the girl in the face with her tail, saying, he is not desperate. As she did so, she wrapped her tail around her neck and tossed her to Hikari, who struck Sakura in the head with a weakened, foxtail hammer. He is not a loser. Then Naruto approached Sakura, seized her, and pressed her against his face. As he exclaimed, they are not mindless animals, he delivered a lethal blow to Sakura's stomach. Sakura collapsed to the ground, holding onto her wounded abdomen. Now get on the boat, Haruno, before I write a report that could end your ninja career permanently, shouted Naruto. Sakura glanced at Sasuke as though to check if he would stand up for her. Rather, Sasuke was not paying attention to the show. As she leapt into the boat, tears welled up in her eyes. Then Kakashi looked at Anko. Are you sure you can carry those three through water? What? Who said anything about carrying him and his girlfriends? They can walk on water just fine. Kakashi's gaze expanded. That is not possible, he shouldn't be able to walk on water. How did you taught him that already? Anko grinned. Anko walked to the left side of the boat with Viper by her side, while Naruto and Hikari were on the right. You want to know the crazy part? The real icing in the cake with this kid? He already knew before I got him as a student, she said. The two summons and the two ninjas began moving on water as soon as the boat went into the water. Ninjas are descended from Jesus Christ and can walk on water. When they saw those four simply walking, or, in some cases, slithering, on the water, everyone in the boat was in awe. Anko grinned at their expressions. What, never saw a person walking on water? It's easy. Speak for yourself. Viper shot out. If you haven't noticed, this is much harder for me as I have to expel chakra from all over my body just to keep afloat. It's a good thing my chakra control is near perfect. Anko massaged her head's back. Gomen, Viper. I didn't consider that, sorry. As Viper continued to glide through the water, she said, no problem. The old fox laughed uncontrollably because this did not make the amazed faces go away. Take a look at their faces, it's precious, haha. What a bunch of wimps, haha. It's hilarious. The banshee looks like her eyes are about to burst from her skull. That is insignificant compared to Sasuke, who appears to be about to shit himself. However, there is one response that baffles me. What? After glancing at the four of you, that Sai kid began writing something. Without getting caught, Naruto ventured to see what Sai was writing out of curiosity. Strolling on water. I'm not sure yet, but I think the secret is that the underside of the foot pumps the chakra to the water continuously, moving in a circle around the feet to keep the body afloat. Naruto grinned. He is undoubtedly intelligent. After studying the techniques for a while, he is likely able to learn them since his mind investigates their secrets. Shino is eager to meet this man. They saw the bridge after a short while. Uncontrollably, Sakura exclaimed, "UAU, it's huge." Naruto said in a lifeless voice, Haruno-san, we are in a low-visibility territory with unknown enemies who could be trying to hunt us down. What I am trying to say is thank you for making our enemy's job easier by telling there where we are. Just as Sakura opened her mouth to scream, Viper leapt into the boat and used her tail to grab her throat. Viper muttered angrily, didn't you hear him? Just shut up already, instead. Sakura chose to remain silent rather than tempt death. They proceeded on foot once they arrived at the banks, until Naruto flung a kunai into the forest, that is. They all hurried there and discovered a scared, white rabbit. Naruto. Baka. Are you trying to scare us or something? Poor bunny, said Sakura. As he conversed with Kyubi, Naruto disregarded her. Hello, Kyubi. Isn't this strange? It's summer, but the rabbit is white. It was therefore held in captivity. Thus, it served as a medium for substitution, and if your ears are picking the sounds right, I would say that whoever it was just threw a giant sword towards you. Get down, was Naruto's first command, and he hurled himself and his girls to the ground. Together with Anko, who brought Tazuna along, the others followed suit. He felt her breasts pressing against the back of his head, but he didn't mind at all. A man appeared over the sword after it struck a 3. Good ears, Gaki. Maybe there is still hope for you. Who are you? Asked Kakashi. Anko gave Kakashi a look. She turned to the stranger and asked, seriously, are you that ignorant or don't you even read the bingo book anymore? That is Zabuza Momochi. Correct. And right now, I want to kill the bridge builder. Gazing at Zabuza, everyone stiffened. Each of Anko, Naruto, Kakashi, and, surprisingly, Sai assumed a position. Kakashi was in a battle stance, poised to attack. Anko was close to Kakashi, holding a kunai, and Naruto moved in front of Tazuna, acting as a body shield with Sai by his side. The others were merely staring at Zabuza like fools. Sasuke exclaimed, who the hell is this guy? And why are you all so scared anyway? He is just one. Viper gave Sasuke a disbelieving look. Are you crazy? That guy is Zabuza, the demon of the bloody mist, a Jonin-level missing nin specialist in the art of silent killing and known to have killed all his colleges in his genin exam. How can you not be tense? Zabuza gave Viper a curious glance. A snake? No, a serpent. I heard about your clan. I myself looked for the contract for ages. Who is your summoner, little one? I'm interested to know the person had succeeded where I failed. Viper grinned. The genin you complimented just a moment ago, and he has 2 contracts, OS you better watch out. Zabuza chuckled as he glanced at the child and then at the nearby fox. You keep getting more and more interesting, kid. You make me have hope on new green genins. Try to survive, it would be a waste to end the career of such promising ninja. Naruto bowed his head. It is an honor to be recognized by someone of your level, Zabuza Momochi. But perhaps you should consider the odds. 2 Junins, 4 genins and 2 summons. You think you can win? Your only chance is using some sort of technique to hide your presence and try the silent killing you are so praised for. Zabuza laughed once more. Clever little pipsqueak. You already discovered my plan. Hidden mist jutsu. The team was suddenly covered in a thick mist. They were all scanning their surroundings in an attempt to identify the adversary. When Sasuke asked, where did he go? Naruto muttered, you dumb ass, come here and cover Tazuna, it is your job. Sakura yelled, Naruto. Baka, stop yelling at Sasuke.kun. But Hikari slapped her with her tail and angrily whispered in her ear, quiet. He is trying to use the sound you make to find us. Do you want to be killed or something? Because if that is the case, then I can do the honors? Sakura's eyes went wide, and she stopped talking, more for Hikari's sake than for Zabuza's. Zabuza chuckled. If this is the best you can do, it will be easy to hunt all of you. Just for you kiddies, I might show you what you will have to face with me. After saying that, there was a lot of killing intent in the field. 5 people, Naruto, Anko, Kakashi, Viper, and Hikari, fought the killer's intent with their own. With all the murderous intent in the air, the others were struggling to breathe. This, then, is the essence of a Junin battle. I just can't stand it. I have to kill myself to get out of this. Sasuke grabbed a kunai and brought it to his throat after having that thought. Readers from all over the world began yelling, die, die, die. Kakashi comfortingly said, Sasuke, don't worry, all will protect us all. Sasuke recovered his composure. When the demon of the mist was about to attack, he misjudged Hikari's hearing, but then a voice said, I wouldn't be so sure if I were you. People all over the world. Damn. So close. Fuck you Kakashi. Hikari exclaimed, above, and Naruto leapt to his feet, spinning around and striking Zabuza's sword, which he was using to protect himself. Both were forced apart by this. Zabuza acknowledged, you just keep surprising me again and again, kiddo. Behind Zabuza, Anko exclaimed, he had a good teacher. A huge number of snakes emerged from her sleeves, and he jumped just in time. He was ready to kill them after slashing them with his sword when Hikari screamed, foxtail fireball, as she shifted her tails, sending 2 fireballs hurtling toward her adversary. Zabuza made a few fast hand gestures. Water style, water wall. Around Zabuza, a massive wall of water formed and was struck by the fireballs. The fact that Naruto would use that, however, caught him off guard. Thunder style, lightning spear. One giant hell of a shock for Zabuza, one spear for Naruto. However, he became water after being electrified. After being stabbed in the ribs by another Zabuza, Naruto vanished into thin air. Zabuza remarked, "It seems I'm not the only one prepared," before vanishing. Hikari, Naruto, and Anko went back to their positions. Anko yelled at the immobile scarecrow, "Kakashi, what are you doing? You have the fucking Sharingan, use it," or something similar. And it's him who delivers inspirational speeches. He is incredibly uninteresting. Kakashi exclaimed, "Right," as he lifted his headband to reveal a Sharingan eye. Naruto snarled at the eye, which had caused him a great deal of suffering in the past. His friends were glaring at Kakashi while attempting to calm him. Sasuke let out a gasp. "The Sharingan? But it's only available to Uchihas? Kakashi, is he a Uchiha?" Zabuza said, "So I finally get to see the famous Sharingan. This is going to be tough." He misjudged Hikari's hearing once more. Hikari shouted, "Foxtail Fireball," while hurling 2 fireballs. Then Naruto made the decision to add up. After that, Wind Style, Great Breakthrough, combined the 2 attacks. They both shouted, "Collaboration Jutsu, Kitsune Fire Tornado," as a furious tornado was formed. In order to avoid the ball, Zabuza had to use all of his speed. It's lethal. I'm screwed if I don't try to avoid that. Hikari's ear twitched, though. She gestured toward some trees and said, "There is someone else, over there." "Okay," exclaimed Anko. "Naruto, you and your girls take care of whoever it is. Kakashi, lend me a hand here. We are facing a demon. The rest, protect the bridge builder." The others remained where they were while Naruto and his group vanished. Sasuke was not pleased with this. "Why does the Dobi gets to fight and I have to stay here? I'm a Uchiha, the elite of elites." "Yes, and a very loud one at that." Zabuza sneered as he surfaced before them once more. "Forget it, kid. You can't even resist my simple killing intent without your babysitter saying sweet nothings to you. How are you an elite?" This infuriated Sasuke. "I'll show you," Sasuke exclaimed as he dashed in Zabuza's direction. Alongside Naruto, he circled the area, forcing him to move behind his adversary's position. It appeared to be a hunter nin. Hikari used genjutsu around him, and he moved behind him, using her assistance to avoid detection. Her chakra felt like a Chunin-level chakra to him. This chakra level in a hunter nin. "Kit, don't let appearances fool you. That girl is as young as you are, but her chakra is well developed because she seems to have taken her training seriously. She obviously didn't have the same teachers or training as you. The fact that she is this developed is still impressive." "Do you think it's a girl? Her face is hidden from me." "Positive. She is female, and I can smell her pheromones. She also tries to wear some sort of masculine perfume, so I assume she either really enjoys men's cologne or is accustomed to hiding her gender." "Alright, what about her chakra? It seems chilly." "Really? Perhaps they are members of the Hyoudens, an ancient clan. They were descended from ice, who possessed the elements of wind and water. They are typically highly skilled in their work and specialize in chakra control. It's unfortunate that they nearly perished in Hidden Mist Village's bloodline purges." Naruto gave that a nod. He shuddered at the memory of the bloodline purges that Kyuubi had told him about. His dislike of certain clans was undoubtedly due to their conceit, but that did not mean he intended to eradicate them all. "I believe it's time for me to speak with this one." He gestured for the genjutsu to stop and said in a cheerful tone after receiving a phantom nod from Kyuubi. "Do you need help, Hunter Nin.san?" Haku had been so engrossed in the match that she was startled to hear someone conversing behind her. She was shocked to see that it was the child who had fought Zabuza hard. "I'm here to apprehend Zabuza Momochi. He is a missing nin of Hidden Mist Village and must be eliminated." Naruto gave a nod. "But then, why don't you join the fight?" "I would rather not, as it seems that those Junin are doing my job for myself. I will just attack when I see an opportunity." Unbeknownst to Haku, Viper had used a silent chant to summon many members of her clan. Naruto asked, "And what are you going to do with the body?" Unaware that she had just exposed herself, Haku said, "I will bring the body back to the village." After grinning, Naruto yelled, "Now," and Haku was surrounded by an unspecified number of serpents. "What are you doing? I told you the truth." Naruto said, "No you didn't," in a frightening voice. "If you were a true hunter nin, you would have said, 'I will cut the head and destroy the rest of the body. The head I will use as proof that I killed him.'" Haku clenched her jaw. He was correct. She made a clear error. However, it wasn't worse than that. The expression on his face was even worse. The expression of a disappointed person. She had always detested the expression on Zabuza's face, and now this strange child was giving it to her. Then Naruto turned to face the battlefield. You care about him, don't you? Haku gave Naruto a suspicious look. Zabuza, you care about him, don't you? Naruto asked, turning to face her. Then Haku glanced down. Then she turned back to Naruto. Do you have people you want to protect? People you would give your life to? Naruto replied, yeah, so, I believe that one can become truly strong if he has a precious person to defend. I have seen the effects as I served Zabuza. Sama. He has been the only person to never look at me with disgust or rejection. Then Naruto turned to face her. You are from Mist, are you not? You must have a bloodline then, if they hated you. Haku gave Naruto a startled look. How is he aware of that? It's meant to remain a secret. Tell you what, I have a deal. First you are going to give me your name, then I am going to let you go and get Zabuza when you see the opportunity. When he is better, come meet me and my sensei in the forest, near the bridge. We have an offer for the two of you. Haku gasped. Was he going to let her go? Why? Naruto looked at her. Because I know your pain. I know the pain of rejection and the pain of being seen as a monster. I too found people who saved me from that, and those are my precious people. So I would like to give you guys a chance. Besides, it would be a shame if the great demon of the mist died here at the hands of Kakashi of all people. Haku glanced at him and saw no signs of dishonesty or betrayal. Then she gave a nod. My name is Haku. I will have to talk with Zabuza about this. We will meet you in 5 days. Enough time to get Zabuza back in shape. Naruto gave a nod. Mine is Naruto Uzumaki. Now come on, let's watch the match. I myself find it very enjoyable to see that prick flying through the place getting his ass kicked. Haku was free once more as she watched the serpents begin to puff in smoke. Then she saw a fox and a snake sitting next to Naruto. She chose to observe. It could do no harm, could it? In addition, he was correct. Watching the child get thoroughly thrashed was entertaining. Alongside Sasuke was gushing blood. He was so severely beaten that he hardly remembered his name. He might have fled from Zabuza and returned to the bridge builder, so it was best he had forgotten. He was being thrashed instead. How is this possible? I'm a Uchiha. How is it possible to defeat me so easily? You are disappointing, kid. For all your bragging, you are weak. Maybe I should try to look for that other kid. He has proven to be a very interesting challenge to me. Sasuke became angry once more. The Dobi is stronger than me. Why, I will insist that he teach me everything he knows if I make it through this. Zabuza swung his sword down and said, so, it is over, kid. At the last moment, Kakashi emerged and used a kunai to stop the blade. Zabuza had forgotten about Anko and Kakashi, so he asked, what the fuck? He leapt out and landed in the center of the lake, where he stood. But then a thought occurred to him. Why didn't you act before? An enraged Kakashi glared at the woman who was on the ground with a cup of popcorn from which no one could tell where it had come. Because Anko wouldn't let me, he exclaimed. As Kakashi put the package away, Anko remarked, hey, it was fun to see your little prick being useless. Which caused her to perspire. Gazing at Anko, Zabuza laughed and said, it sure was. I like this woman already. Say, do you have a boyfriend? Anko said honestly, no, I have the hottest MILF girlfriend ever, though. Zabuza cursed after getting a small nosebleed, while Kakashi flew back with it. Fuck, it is always the best women that are lesbian. Enjoying the look on Zabuza's face, Anko remarked, who said anything about lesbians? I myself am bisexual and Miko had a husband once. No lesbians in there. His facial expressions were easily discernible, even with a portion of it concealed. Zabuza exclaimed, that is fucking hot, as Kakashi began to stand up once more. I wish I could join. Oh well, the curse of being a missing nin, I guess. Kakashi could not believe what he saw when he glanced at Zabuza and Anko. They were conversing as if they were best friends. But Kakashi made the decision to put an end to the act. Thunder style. Arch lightning. In order to avoid the lightning, Zabuza had to leap away. Attempting to use the water wall would be a repeat of his error, which he never did. He glanced at Kakashi. Can't you see we are having a conversation, man? Or were you too embarrassed to hear anymore? Don't go down that road, the guy is a fucking pervert who reads his Icha books all the time. Though I never saw him with a girl, to be honest. Said Anko as she gazed at Kakashi. But maybe that is it, maybe he is just a poor virgin and doesn't like to hear others talking about a thing he never experienced and can only read about. It is sad. Mocked Zabuza. Kakashi tightened his jaw. He was enraged because Zabuza was correct. He was merely a virgin who had only Icha and his hand to console him. It is quite depressing. However, he was incensed that someone like Zabuza would bring it up. I'll show you, he shouted as he sprinted in Zabuza's direction. The idea of confronting a master in water style jutsus in the middle of a lake is so stupid. The sensation of the water should have warned him, even if one were to forget that. I guess not. Zabuza shouted, water style. Water prison jutsu. While ensnaring Kakashi in a bubble. Gotha you, he exclaimed, turning to face Anko. Now give me the bridge builder or I kill him. You can kill him, Anko exclaimed, examining her fingernails. It's not like anyone except the council will miss him, and they only won because he is the only one that can teach the kid you beat the crap out of how to use the Sharingan. In fact, there are a bunch of people that would be happy with you killing him. Shut up, Anko. A furious Kakashi screamed. Just get me out of here would you? Anko sat down on the grass and gave Zabuza a planned glimpse of her panty. Less pussy through the skirt. First, I'm the one in charge, so you don't tell me to shut up or order me to do jack shit. As for getting you out, aren't you copy Ninja Kakashi? Get out yourself and stop being lazy, she said. Alongside Naruto as he watched the show, Naruto remarked, that is one way to put a Cyclops in his place, isn't it? It is confusing that that woman would treat her fellow Junin that way. Why does she? Said Haku. Haku, there is a difference between a normal partner and an unwanted partner. You may get along with the first one, but not the second one. This guy is a total ass and always goes around like he is the greatest. He even gets laid to calls from the Hokage. How much of a dickhead must you be to do that? Not only that, replied Viper. He always chants about teamwork, but he goes around with an eye he stole from a fallen comrade. Obito Uchiha and a dog summoning contract that belonged to another one. Rin Inuzuka. Some even say that, while the first one was unintentional and an accident, the second one was on purpose. He is a monster that only thinks about himself. And add to that, Hikari commented. To the fact that he parades around reading a pornographic book without a worry in the world, is always flirting with Anko even though she doesn't flirt back and tried to get a look of Miko naked with his Sharingan, he is a total disgrace. Haku appeared perplexed. Who is Miko? My mom, exclaimed Naruto with joy. The best mom in the world, she adopted me and my life has been the best. She worries about me, checks on me, teaches me what I need to know, whether practical or theoretical and, Haku inquired. Naruto yelled, she knows all about the security of various clans and village? With her knowledge I became the fear of ninja of all ranks as my pranks hits every levels. His voice was high but not loud enough for the group fighting to hear. They continued to watch the match while Haku perspired at this. In the battle, just get me out of here, Anko, exclaimed Kakashi. As she prepared herself, Anko said, man, he is a pain in the ass. Alright, Kakashi, I will save your worthless ass. Then she hurled a number of kunais. Shadow kunai clone jutsu. As they flew in the direction of Zabuza, the air was thick with kunais. His eyes grew wide, and he let go of Kakashi while grabbing his sword and using it to protect himself from the numerous kunais. Sadly, Kakashi was also unharmed as he plummeted through the water, too stunned by her strategy to move. Zabuza said, now that is one nasty technique, but you will have to do better. He was getting ready to spar once more. Upon rising, Kakashi began to yell, what the fuck is wrong with you? You could have killed me. With a bored tone, Anko asked, look at my face, do I look like I care about your life or lack thereof? Besides, I did what you wanted. I freed you from that bubble didn't I? Just be grateful you are alive. She began running towards Zabuza and engaged him in combat, while Kakashi glared at her. When he attempted to cut her with his sword, she bended herself, demonstrating her remarkable flexibility, causing her hands to touch the ground as the sword passed over her belly. She had previously sent a fist to his face, which he had avoided. After giving him a shin kick, she stood up again and performed a spin kick. Zabuza threw her away after catching the offending foot. Then, as he ran in her direction, Kakashi materialized in front of him brandishing a kunai. You again? Don't you learn? Zabuza's eyes narrowed as Kakashi finished, you cannot defeat me. At precisely the same moment that Zabuza began making hand signals, Kakashi followed suit. When they both yelled, water style. Water dragon jutsu. Two enormous water dragons emerged from the lake and collided, both of them exploding into rain that rained down on the two shinobis. What on earth? Zabuza thought. How is he doing? Kakashi finished. Doing this? Zabuza's gaze grew wide. Is he able to? Kakashi finished. Read minds? Then, simultaneously, Zabuza and Kakashi exclaimed. You will not trick me you stupid copy monkey. Zabuza then made the decision to pull a practical joke, you know. When Kakashi exclaimed, I'm gay, his eyes widened. What? Gotcha you. Zabuza laughed. Kakashi became enraged. Is everybody going to mock me? I'm getting fed up with it. Look on the bright side, Kakashi. You always wanted my attention and now you have it, even if it means dying of embarrassment, Anko said with a joking voice. After laughing at the joke, Zabuza made the decision to become serious. He was practicing his most destructive water jutsu hand signs when he noticed Kakashi performing them. He gasped when he saw a figure standing behind Kakashi. Is that me? Kakashi shouted, water style, giant vortex jutsu, instead. Sadly, Zabuza was thrown away by the vortex and never had the chance. Alongside Naruto, Haku said, oh, I think that is my cue. Very well. Remember, 5 days, near the bridge, by afternoon, Naruto replied. Surprised, Haku asked, why afternoon? Because in the morning I have physical training. In the afternoon, however, is supposed to be genjutsu and other theoretical stuff I need to know, so no harm done skipping one. Naruto replied with a childish tone. Haku gave him a look. He used to act like a professional ninja, but now he acts like a child. You, Naruto, are a mystery. She leapt to her work after that. Alongside the group, Zabuza looked up as he struck the tree. Can you see the future? Yes, Kakashi said, getting ready. Your future is death. Zabuza was struck in the neck by a few needles before he could react. He hit the floor with a thump. Anko noticed a mist hunter nin. This guy should have been taken care of by Naruto, right? The hunter nin and Zabuza vanished after saying, thank you, I have been looking for him. I shall now eliminate the body. You have my thanks. After a second, Naruto emerged. Anko questioned, Naruto, what took you so long? Naruto said, Sensei, I need to talk to you later. Anko didn't say anything more. She would respect the child if he was this serious. Kakashi passed out from chakra exhaustion at that precise moment. And he calls himself X. Anbu Captain. Most people would think he was fired because of lack of quality. She replied to Sakura. Hey, Banshee, you take emo.gay. Sai, you and Naruto will take Kakashi. Let's move out, we still need to reach for Tazuna's house. When Kakashi awoke, a stunning woman was staring at him anxiously. He felt a pain in the side of his face before he could say anything. Finally awaken. You good-for-nothing Cyclops. Do you know how much you fucked your team up? I have been training them and I am clearly disappointed with them. And stop looking at Tsunami like that or I'm going to kick you again. Gazing, Kakashi noticed Anko's foot beside his face. He tried to see up her skirt when he looked up, but she was wearing shorts. As she kicked him once more, Anko grinned and said, looking for something, pervert? You never learn. Kakashi made a pitiful cry, ouch, stop that, Anko, my head hurts, instead. Anko threw some crutches at him and yelled, good, maybe it will restart working then, because it is time for you to see how pathetic your team is. When Kakashi eventually left his room and reached the door outside, he saw Naruto and Sai performing push-ups. Sai was perspiring profusely, but Naruto appeared unconcerned. But he didn't see Sakura or Sasuke. He turned to face Anko, who chose to explain as she stood next to him. Naruto and Sai just finished the running part. You see, me and Naruto have some sort of routine in our training. Mornings, physical training and taijutsu. Afternoon, chakra control and jutsu training. Kakashi questioned, what about Sasuke? Oh, not worried about Sakura? Anko questioned reproachfully. She is a member of your team too. Anyway, those two didn't want to do the running so we got them some incentive. At that moment, Sakura and Sasuke both started to run while 7 snakes slithered behind them, attempting to bite them whenever they had the chance. They were sweating and panting heavily. You see, they are really pathetic. The serpents already bite Sasuke 3 times and Sakura 6. And they only truly bite when they stop running. Naruto does this every morning for 8 years. Even in his first try he was only bitten once. Why is Sai not running with the others? Kakashi then inquired. Because he already ran. He is the one with better physical condition of the 3. He might had some personal training though. He is already a decent genin for making it through the run without a single bite in his first try. And he keeps going. Oh, he stopped. Indeed, when Sai eventually passed out, he and Naruto were performing some sit-ups. His eyes widened as he glanced at Naruto, who continued on unfazed. How can he continue? Despite his immense power, he is emotional. Maybe I could become like that. At last, Naruto halted his sit-ups and approached Sai. You did better than I did first time, not bad. Thanks. Say Naruto, could I have a word with you? Replied Sai. Naruto then noticed that Anko was making them perform leg push-ups, even though it appeared that it would take some time for them to finish. Sure, it will give us some time to rest before the spars. They left the group behind. So what is eating you? Naruto inquired after they had finally escaped prying eyes. Sai looked directly at Naruto and said, I want to train with you from now on. Both my teachers seem rather lacking when I compare myself with you. Kakashi never teaches me anything, only Sasuke, and even then, you can see the results. And my second teacher said that emotions makes one weak and that the perfect ninja has no emotions, yet you are filled with emotions and you are more powerful than I. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Who was your second teacher? I will only tell you that and some more information you may find useful if you allow me to train with you. I know it will be tough, but the pros outmatch the cons in this. Naruto pondered. Very well. I will let you train with me and help you with your training, pointing what you do wrong and what should be improved. Now who was your teacher and what useful information do you speak of? My teacher was Danzo of the council. He was one of the people that told everyone that you were the Kyuubi, and he is maintaining an Anbu unit of his own called Root Anbu which only obeys to him, even though the Hokage forbid him from doing such thing. He also kidnaps people from clans so he can train them himself. However, he never lets his Root Anbu be stronger than a medium Junin because he fears that if he does, they will try to overpower him. Naruto let out a whistle. That is a lot of information. Do you have proofs? Sai took a file from behind him. This is the best proof I have. It marks the locations of the secret entrances to the Root Anbu training compound. It's underground because it is better to hide that way. Naruto scowled as he studied the Konoha map. Some of these entrances are right in some clans' compounds. Yes, because some members are also clan members that decided to obey Danzo in secret or were kidnapped and put a seal to obey him. Naruto gave a nod. I must show this to Anko. Well done, Sai. If you keep yourself loyal to me, I will let you train with me and forget that thing about emotions. Emotions can be your biggest weapon, either by fueling your battle skills or by blinding your enemies with their own. Never forget that. At this, Sai gave a nod. Anko approached and yelled, Hey, what are you two doing, maggots? It's time for sparring. After her. Anko. Sensei, I need to talk to you later. I just found some amazing information you and the Hokage need to know. Anko arched an eyebrow. Very well, we will discuss this tonight. For now let's keep training, shall we? Okay. During lunch everyone was seated for lunch. Nevertheless, some were in worse condition than others. Sakura and Sasuke were extremely filthy. Viper had to use a small water jutsu to get rid of the mud because they were so bad. They were staring at Anko and Naruto with daggers. With a menacing tone, Anko said, Oh, what gives, kids? You just did Naruto's everyday training, nothing much, maybe you would like to do my training instead. They both looked away from her. Although they were unaware of it, Anko actually underwent the same physical training as Naruto. A voice from the stairs said, It wouldn't do them any good. Everyone turned to see Bill Clinton. Wait, it's a child. You are all going to die anyway. Inari. Tsunami exclaimed. Carelessly, Inari climbed the stairs. Anko said, Well, who is the moody kid? It's my son, Inari. He hasn't been the same since his father's death, I'm afraid, Tsunami replied. His father was his hero. But when he opposed Gato too much, he was killed in front of everyone. He was never the same again, finished Tazuna. Everyone was silent. Until Sasuke made the decision to act like a jerk once more. What a wimp, he saw his father die and became a crybaby. What a wuss. Rising from his seat, Naruto leapt over the table, hitting Sasuke in the face and hurling him against the wall, where he collapsed. Sakura was about to scream, but Hikari stopped her by biting her legs and squinting at her witch. Not Kakashi, though. Naruto, I think you overreacted. Stop talking, Naruto yelled. Naruto stood up and left after saying, he is the only one here who should understand, since he is going through the same thing as him. He should know what Inari is going through better than anyone else. Hikari nodded while glancing at Viper. Viper left the house without saying anything more, trailing Naruto without his knowledge. Anko looked over at Hikari. Why didn't you follow them? As if it were the most straightforward thing in the world, Hikari said. First, because someone is to look out for all of you and keep you sane in the middle of this madness. Second, I promised Viper to let her have a go with Naruto alone. Alongside Naruto before Kyuubi yelled, Kid, calm yourself. Naruto was punching a tree with all of his fury, nearly bleeding his knuckles. Even though you already know he's a jerk, you won't feel any less pain if his knuckles are bleeding. Perhaps you are correct. That still enrages me, though, because Sasuke and Inari believe they are in the worst situation ever, but they are completely ignorant. I understand, kid, but you can't allow them to affect you. Be content because you are aware of the truth. Naruto composed himself. He was aware of the truth Kyuubi was referring to. We always have someone in the deepest shit. He then takes a seat close to a tree, closes his eyes, and ignores the slithering shadow that has fallen upon him. In a different clearing with Anko and the other genins. Anko snapped, "Okay shrimps, we are going to train chakra control today. To do that you must walk up a tree." When she noticed their shocked looks, Sai was the only one with a contemplative look. "What do you mean, Anko? Sensei? Is it something like the water walking you and Naruto were doing?" replied Sai. "Yes Sai, it is. However, this could be considered an easier level. You see, this exercise only requires that you put a small amount of chakra on your feet and maintain it there, making you stuck to the surface. In the water you must expel chakra around your feet constantly and at a low level too," explained Anko prior to throwing 3 kunai at the ground. "Now get moving, shrimps. Use the kunai to mark your progress." The trio got to work on it. Hikari looked up while they were doing so. Seems like the Hokage sent his reply already. Anko noticed the messenger hawk soaring over them when she looked up. She can still clearly recall the conversation she had with Naruto that prompted her to write the Hokage. Flashback jutsu. Anko said, "So let me get this straight. You let an enemy ninja escape, save another enemy ninja that me and Cyclops were fighting, and then you say that you have a proposition for them." "Yeah." Naruto nodded. Anko twitched his eyes and added, "And that proposition is citizenship on Konoha for both enemy ninjas, is that correct?" "So far," Naruto exclaimed. In a sweet voice, Anko said, "Can I ask you something Naru-to? What were you thinking? You know that those things have to be approved by the Hokage, don't you?" she cried as Naruto nodded. "And he will approve." When Anko paused, he continued, "One has a bloodline, so the council shouldn't have a problem with that. And this is Zabuza we are talking about. What Cage doesn't want that type of guy working for him?" After giving it some thought, Anko exclaimed, "Well damn, I guess you were right." Naruto questioned, "Plus you aren't really that mad, are you? You were ready to jump his bones. And if what I heard from him is correct, he wants some bit of action with you and Miko." Smirking, Anko said, "Trying to get a father, shrimp? Well yeah, me and Miko have been speaking and we agreed that we do need some more male action on our life. But you know that not all males are that good in Konoha." Kakashi, no comment. Asuma, dating Kurenai. Ebizu, what the fuck? Ibiki, he is gay. Guy, weird. Uruka, dating Ayame, and so on so on. So yeah, better Zabuza than the choices we have. But we must warn the Hokage and ask for citizen papers for both." After Naruto gave a nod, they wrote the message and Anko called forth a messenger bird. Naruto inquired, "You have a summoning contract for a messenger bird?" As she handed the message to the bird, he took off. "All Junins have a tattoo on them that allows them to summon a messenger bird, Naruto. Now let's just send the damn bird already," cried Anko. Kai's flashback jutsu. She read the paper with an uncontrollable smile as she opened the message. To Anko, "I've read your message, and although I support both your and Naruto's viewpoints, please try to caution me the next time you make promises to the enemy." Surprisingly, I received some clan support, despite the fact that it was difficult, particularly the head of the Aburame clan, who opposed the idea of turning Haku into a breeding ground for bloodline offspring in addition to supporting Zabuza and his apprentice's citizenship. In any case, these are both of their citizenship documents, sealed by the Hokage. They only need to sign them and bring them to Konoha's gates. When they arrive, we will talk about the rank they should be assigned and the amount of experience they both need to complete in order to be fully accepted. And finally, did you really need to describe what you and Miko plan to do with Zabuza so well? This section was covered in blood, but it was still readable. Are you attempting to attack this elderly man's heart? I appreciate you alerting me to Team 7's situation as well. This is not acceptable. When Kakashi arrives, I will speak with him. Try to help them as much as you can, and then write a report about them also. I know what needs to be done. Awaiting your return. Sarutobi Hiruzen 3rd Konoha no Sato Hokage. Anko grinned at what she had read. Hikari was blazing Sasuke's ass for stopping when she looked up. Everything was going smoothly, she grinned. Zabuza's approval was now the only thing required. At Zabuza's house, Zabuza was at home, receiving treatment from Haku while lying on a bed. Abruptly, 2 mercenaries followed Gato into the room. Well, seems like the great demon of the bloody mist isn't so great after all," he said, his tone shifting away from mockery. "You failed, Zabuza. I paid you to kill the bridge builder and you failed. You said that they only had one team, 1 Junin and 3 Genins. However, the team was different. 2 Junins, 4 Genins, with one of them having the skills of at least a Chunin and 2 summons. This group is not one to take lightly. Regardless, I paid you good money and you failed. What am I supposed to do now?" said Gato. Without even looking at him, Zabuza stated in a matter of fact tone. Give us 1 week, and we will kill the bridge builder. Gato was about to grab him when he felt an iron grip on his hands, nearly stopping his pulse. Why you, he said. You will not touch Zabuza Sama with your filthy hands, shouted Haku. Just as the other two mercenaries were about to take action, Haku killed them both with a needle to the neck in an incredibly quick move. Gato was taken aback by this. A week. That is all you have, he said, turning to face Zabuza, before he fled the room in a panic, his tail between his legs. Zabuza let out a sigh. He held up a kunai and exclaimed, You didn't need to do that. I was ready to deal with him. Haku grinned. She became serious and said, I know. I was just tired of dealing with that weasel. What about that kid's proposal? Zabuza pondered for a long time. He continued, We should at least hear him out. Chances are Gato is going to betray us anyway. So we might as well hear his proposal. Besides, I myself am tired of sleeping in the road with no kind of security of our own. And those hunter nins are starting to piss me off. This made Haku smile. Having a roof over their heads and avoiding the need to wake one of them constantly to prevent them from being killed while they slept were the only things she and the others desired. Additionally, it was exhausting to constantly conceal their footprints to avoid being discovered by hunter nins. And that Anko was hot. I wonder if I can get her to let me in some fun time between her and that horny MILF she talked about. Haku's gaze flickered. Then it twitched even more. Zabuza. Teme, baka ero. Nin, she then cried. Anko was walking to the bridge with Tazuna, Kakashi, and his genins. She looked at them disgustedly. Kakashi had been training Sasuke specifically, so she didn't know what he had learned other than the part he boasted about, which was the awakening of his Sharingan. Sakura needed to be threatened in every exercise or else she wouldn't participate. Anko believes that the training wasn't as effective as it could have been because she had to be bitten multiple times. Sai had surprised and been welcomed because he had not only put forth the effort but had also significantly improved. To protect the house, Naruto had stayed behind. Team 7 was only aware of that official version. The reality was somewhat different, and the encounter with Zabuza was the source of it. No jutsu flashback. Team 7 was unable to see where Naruto, Hikari, Viper, and Anko were going as they hurried out of the house. Anko declared she wanted to train her, Shrimp, by herself in order to divert Team Asshole on the day they had to meet Zabuza and Haku. In order for Sai to train, she left him a scroll. Sakura was relieved that she didn't have to train, and Sasuke simply replied, HNF, as usual. But Kakashi's reaction wasn't what they wanted. What do you mean, train him alone? We are a team now, you have to train everyone together? Oh, like you do with Sasuke. Don't give me lessons you don't follow Kakashi. Besides, I'm still team leader on this mission and I can do what I want about it, you just have to obey, said Anko as she headed toward the door. Viper bit Kakashi on the leg just as he was ready to follow. He swatted Viper away as he yelled, only to become immobile. Like it? Inquired Viper in a light-hearted tone. It's my paralyzing fang. You will be stuck like that for 5 or 6 hours. Personally, I hope for the latest. They then departed from the house. As they approached their destination, Anko saw no one. Are you sure they are coming, Shrimp? I don't see anyone. Then Hikari smiled and sniffed the air. They're here. In that tree, they exclaimed as they turned to face Zabuza and Haku. How did you find us so quickly? Zabuza inquired, perplexed. He had ensured that they wouldn't discover him for some time, allowing him to get ready for them and check to see if they had set up a trap. Haku uses peach shampoo, Hikari corrected. I noticed it last time. Zabuza narrowed his eyes and turned to face Haku. How many times have I told you not to use that shampoo? Use the odorless one, I tell you, and this is what you do. Haku blushed, embarrassed, and said, Sorry, Zabuza, Sama. Zabuza let out a sigh. Well, what was your offer? Naruto moved forward and gave Zabuza 2 documents. Zabuza raised an eyebrow and reached for the documents. As he read them, his eyes widened in surprise. This is, Anko smirked as she finished, Konoha citizen papers for the 2 of you. This will allow you to live in Konoha. All that it's left, is for you to go to Konoha and present the papers. Then the experience time you have to pass will be discussed with the Hokage himself. Fearfully, Zabuza questioned, what about Haku? Do they want to use her as a breeding stoke? No, the Hokage prevented that. She will have the freedom any ninja has, especially once she has her rank. Zabuza gave them both a startled look. You got all this, for us? Zabuza turned to see Naruto staring up at him and said, Zabuza. You are a formidable ninja, one that doesn't deserve to die. much less at the hands of Kakashi, who would brag about killing the demon of the bloody mist to everyone who still ears him. Unfortunately, if we didn't intervene, that would happen. Zabuza began, "Kid, have more faith in me. I would." But Naruto cut him off. Naruto yelled, "No, you must listen to me. It is not because of Kakashi, but me and Anko would have to kill you. And you know that while you are good, you can't keep up with 2 Chunin-level ninja and 1 Chunin." Hikari and Viper both yelled, and 2 summons who are Chunin level, simultaneously. Zabuza pondered. They were correct. If the most recent battle was any guide, there was too much for him to handle. Even if Haku managed to handle the genin, the other 3 would eventually overwhelm her. Zabuza said, "Fine Gaki, what do you purpose? Plus, tell me what do you think Gato is planning?" replied Anko. Zabuza pondered. Although he said that we have till the end of the week, I think he is going to let me and Haku fight, then he will attack all of us when we are at our weakest. However, if I had, Zabuza Sama, Haku interrupted, I wouldn't put it past him to try and send some mercenaries to Tazuna's house while we are fighting. That way even if the rest fails, he can use the hostages as a bargain ship. Then Zabuza opened a map. He indicated a wooded area. Gato's house is here. Anko and Naruto both nodded. Anko continued, "Here is the plan. For now we act as if nothing is different. We will meet at the end of the week at the bridge. Me, Kakashi and his genins are going to be there." Feeling out of place, Naruto said, "What about me, Anko, sensei?" Anko yelled, "Don't interrupt me and you will find out," to get Naruto to stop talking. "As I was saying, we will be there and you, Zabuza and Haku will be too. Then we will have a fight, the most realistic we can. That should draw Gato out with his tugs. When that happens, we will kill the motherfucker together." "But what about Naruto?" Naruto chose to stop talking once more. "Your mission is to protect Tazuna's house. He will probably send 2 or 3 mercenaries. Then, you, Viper and Hikari are going to Gato's house. You will wait till the guys leave for the bridge. Viper, Hikari, you girls are going to follow the army, and when I say now you guys invoke the biggest serpent and fox you can so we can wipe them out." Before Naruto could ask, Anko continued, "Naruto, you go into the house. Raid the place for money, weapons and food and put it all on a scroll. Then you try to find any prisoner. Chances are, he has 1 or 2 missing nin in there guarding the place. Take them out." Finally pleased to be included in the plan, Naruto exclaimed, "Yes mom," which caused Anko to chuckle. Zabuza considered the strategy. "It looks solid to me. Besides, I was considering leaving the life of a missing nin behind." He then raised his eyebrows. "The demon of the bloody leaf. Sounds deadly, huh? Alright, we will join this plan." Zabuza held a finger as everyone cheered, including Haku. As everyone stared at him, he said slowly, "With one condition. I want a date with you and the supposed horny MILF." Haku and Naruto collapsed in disbelief. Anko, however, grinned. "Sure, why not? Do a good job and you might be rewarded with 2 hot pussies just for your enjoyment." Zabuza laughed. "I will not disappoint you. No jutsu flashback. Kai." As they approached the bridge, each of them had their own thoughts racing through their minds. The identity of the people behind the thoughts was revealed. "I'm hoping the plan succeeds. I can rely on the other guys to keep me safe, so I'm hoping the woman will be enough. I'm hoping the new Icha Icha will be out by the time I get to the village. I'm eager to read it. I'll demonstrate the Uchiha's superiority over everyone this time. Sasuke is really charming. Oh, I'm so excited for our marriage." Anko. Sensei appears anxious. "I should get ready because I don't want to surprise her if it makes her anxious." The group arrived at the bridge bearing these ideas in mind. As soon as they did, they discovered a dense fog and people fleeing. Shaking in terror, Tazuna questioned, "What is going on?" One of the employees shouted, "It's Zabuza, he is here," as he fled for his life. Suddenly there was laughter in the midst of the fog. But not the kind of laughter that would make a certain purple-haired Kunoichi giggle and cause Shinigami to urinate. "God, oh God. Take a look at their faces. He's a good guy. He will have to deal with 2 very irate women if he doesn't fulfill his promise and is good in bed." Zabuza stepped out of the mist and said, "So, you finally came." At his side, donning the hunter.nin mask, was Haku. He then turned to face the group and pretended to be surprised. "I will warn you, this time we are ready for you. Where is the kid with the 2 summons? He is one of the people I want to face." Sasuke moved forward a step. "Don't worry about him, he is just a dobe. I will give a much more worthy battle, for this time I will show you the true power of Uchiha. Prepare yourself." And he began to run towards Zabuza. Haku showed up and tossed Sasuke some senbon. Jumping to the side, the latter looked at his new opponent. Haku replied, "You will have to win against me first, and I don't see that happening so soon." HNF, so you think. But you will see nothing is more powerful than Uchiha. Sasuke then charged at Haku, initiating a hand.to hand conflict while Sharingan whirled into action. Zabuza used the hidden mist jutsu during this time, and the dense mist reappeared. Kakashi and Anko were prepared. Anko continued, "Sai, go and try to help Uchiha. Teme, Sakura, be your useless self, but protect Tazuna while you are at it. Kakashi, focus. Let's try and beat this too." Sakura began to scream, but the others followed orders. "Did you really had to make her yell?" Kakashi asked Anko after hearing Sakura yell. Anko angrily whispered to Kakashi, who blushed and turned away. "Idiot, by having her yell. Zabuza can't tell where we are even if we talk, because he can't hear us. Get a brain, would you?" The shouting harpy was making it difficult for Zabuza to determine where they were. He chose to silence her by coming up behind her and giving her a head chop. She collapsed, unconscious. Zabuza glanced at Tazuna, who backed away in terror. Zabuza vanished into the mist, saying, "Don't worry, I will deal with your ninja first, then I will kill you." Alongside Naruto as the two mercenaries entered the house, Naruto and his girls looked on. "Why aren't we kicking their asses already?" Hikari questioned. Naruto replied, "Because I want to see if Inari learned his lesson." Knowing what he was talking about, Viper and Hikari exchanged glances. Massive flashback without jutsu. They were all seated at the table, enjoying their meal at the time. Kakashi chose to spoil the atmosphere. Zabuza is still alive. Everyone was quiet, until Anko and Naruto struck the table with their heads. Viper and Hikari both used their tails or paws to slap their heads. As Anko tended to her bruised head, she said, "Only now you realize this? You are so stupid, Kakashi." But Sakura yelled, "What the hell do you mean he is alive?" Naruto asked, cleaning his ear, "Geez, Banshee, do you have to be so loud? Some of us have a very sensitive hearing. Anyway, I don't know if you realize this, but hunter nins get rid of the body in the spot, they don't take the whole body with them." Sai said, "It's truth. I have saw some hunter nins come with scrolls to the Hokage. From these scrolls, they unseal the heads of the criminals they killed. The only time they bring the body is when they need the ninja alive." Sasuke said, "So, they could have needed him alive," which caused Anko, Naruto, and Sai to strike the table with their heads. Even Hikari and Viper struck with their heads there this time. Then, in front of Zabuza, Naruto took out a bingo book and opened it. "See here, after the bounty. It says, dead only. Not, dead or alive. Just, dead only. Learn to read, Sasuke." That was pathetic. "You have already been warned enough times. Stop screaming." Viper sprang up to Sakura just as she was about to scream, clamping her tail around her mouth and squeezing a little. Sakura fell silent. Hikari exhaled in relief as a result. "Thanks, Viper." "You are welcome, Hikari." Naruto continued, "No matter, we are still strong enough to beat him in Gato any day of the week." Everyone turned to see Inari standing there staring at them, saying, "No, you are not. You are all going to die, it's useless." Naruto looked over at him. "I know you are scared, but right now you should believe in us. We were trained for this, we can do it. Stop trying to act like you are all powerful and mighty. You don't know how things have been here. You probably had a pampered life, no danger or fear whatsoever. You don't know anything about suffering." Inari screamed, unaware of what he had done. There was silence. Naruto was the source of all the murderous intent in the room. His appearance even frightened Viper and Hikari. Making him think of his life before they met him was one of the few things that made Naruto so angry. It wasn't a pretty outcome. He seized Inari and pressed him up against the wall. He then looked him in the eyes and said in an ominous and hazardous voice, "I don't know suffering. I don't know suffering. Wake up, kid. You are not the only one who has been in deep shit. I lived 5 years alone in the streets, fending for myself, getting food from the trash cans while the entire village tried to get me killed. Have you ever had the entire village beating you and yelling things like, 'Die demon die'?" Naruto wasn't finished, but Inari was ghostly white. He then turned to Kakashi and asked, "Do you see that asshole? That asshole was one of the reasons why they always found me. He would guide the people to me so they could have their fun with the demon boy. And now I have to work with him and I can't kill him because if I do, then I will be sentenced to death in the blink of an eye." Then he looked back at Inari. "You know what saved me? You see that serpent and that fox? They did. They saved me from the darkest of times and gave me a reason to keep on going. Then a woman adopted me and since then my life has become perfect. Even better, my mother found her own happiness with Anko Sensei, and as loud as they are, I love them. They became my family. But you never lost yours. You still have your mother, your grandpa, and yet you still mop like the world is all against you. Instead of crying and feeling sorry for yourself, you should do your best to help them. To become strong so you can protect them. Mark my words, kid, there is always someone in deeper shit than us. I will go get some air, Naruto said as he released the child and left. Hikari and Viper followed this time in order to comfort him. Tears filled Inari's eyes and he shuddered. Then he bolted upstairs. Tsunami was visited by Anko. I'm sorry for Naruto. He isn't always like this. In fact, it is rare to see him getting so angry. I'm deeply sorry. Tazuna said, don't be. As he finished, he glanced at Sasuke, who didn't even bother to acknowledge him. If what the kid said was half right, then he had reasons to shout like that. Besides, it might be what Inari needs to get back together. Just one good reality check could do well to many people. Tsunami was a little shaken. As what he said, T.T.Tr. Ruth? Was a terrified question. Sasuke typed in, "Ass mode at M. Of course not. The Dobi just wants us to feel sorry for him, that is all." Sakura exclaimed, "Yeah, that Dobi is probably just making it up." Once more, there was a sense of murderous intent in the room. Anko was the source this time. I can guarantee you, he is not making it up. It is the truth, and part of it is thanks to Kakashi. Teme. So if you say one more word, you will not only be reported for going against my orders, I will kick your pompous ass all the way to Konoha and give the rest to my snakes. Did I make myself clear? The woman appeared to have grown a few inches taller, and everyone nodded in fear. She went to her bedroom after calming down. Then Tsunami turned to face Kakashi and addressed him as Kakashi-san. Yes, Tsunami-chan? Kakashi asked cheerfully, that is, until a pillow and some sheets struck him. Tsunami screamed, "You will sleep outside," as she lifted the pan and struck Kakashi in the head, making him flee the insane woman. Jutsu. Free Giant flashback. Kai Naruto watched until Inari screamed at the mercenaries and snatched a knife menacingly. Now. There was a lot of noise made as soon as Inari closed his eyes. The mercenaries were dead on the ground when he opened them, and Naruto was there with Viper on his shoulder and Hikari close to his feet. Then Naruto turned to face Inari. Congratulations, you are giving the first step towards the right path. Now stay here and protect your mother, I have to go and help my friends. After Inari gave a nod, Naruto departed, followed by Hikari and Viper. On the bridge Sasuke was furious, it did not appear promising. He joked that neither of them could do anything now that the hunter Nin had taken hold of his hand. He was startled when he performed one-handed seals and yelled, "Hidden Jutsu." 1,000 needles of death. Suddenly, all of the water-made needles in the clearing were pointing at him. He cringed as the majority of them struck him. Kakashi, damn you. Why didn't you demonstrate one-handed seals for me? With that, I could have defeated him. In addition, he had used a technique known as ice style, crystal ice mirrors. While this jutsu was initially effective because it allowed him to see a lot of himself, narcissistic bastard. It enraged him for 4 reasons. First, the hunter Nin could move through them at a speed that neither he nor the Sharingan could match. Secondly, he was unable to replicate it. What sort of jutsu is immune to the Sharingan's copying? Third, not even his most sophisticated fire jutsu could destroy the mirrors. Fourth, Haku was constantly nailing him with needles, some of which were even striking him in the balls. I can't possibly die, so this can't be. As more and more needles struck him, he pondered. After making a few hand signals, he vanished, but not before leaving Sai in his place. When Haku witnessed Sai being struck in Sasuke's place, he was horrified. What kind of teammate substitutes his own college? Sai collapsed to the ground, unconscious. After that, Haku threw away the mirrors and screamed, "What the hell is wrong with you? To sacrifice a friend like that? To Sasuke?" Sasuke gave a shoulder shrug. HNF, as if he was my friend, he is just a nuisance. Besides, he should be proud of himself for serving as a way to save my life, the life of Uchiha. He was struck in the neck by Haku, who appeared out of nowhere on his front. Sasuke dropped to the floor. Then, to make sure he wouldn't be moving anytime soon, she used some needles. After that, she approached Sai and gave her some needles, causing Sai to awaken. Sai gave her a perplexed look. "Aren't you going to kill me?" Haku gave a headshake. She showed him the Konoha citizenship documents and said, "No, I won't." In a few moments, we will all be on the same side. Sai nodded, but his eyes grew wide. What about Sasuke? Haku said in a dejected tone, I don't think neither of us can trust him right now. Sai gave a nod. So what now? Haku responded, we watch the others fight. The time is coming. Sasuke was doing better than Kakashi. He could only see a few inches through the fog, even with the Sharingan. But he knew something wasn't right. Each time Zabuza and Anko got into a fight, they would whisper to one another as if everything was prearranged. He shook his head, though, because Anko wouldn't turn on them. At last, he made the decision to play another trump card. Summoning Jutsu, he said, taking a small scroll in his hand. After a puff of smoke, Kakashi was encircled by 7 dogs who were prepared to fight. Go! He shouted, and the dogs ran toward Zabuza using their noses. The dogs were poofing as they were about to bite him in the arms when snakes suddenly emerged from the mist and attacked them. Kakashi looked over at Anko. Kakashi turned and screamed, what are you doing? Are you betraying us? At her. Zabuza realized it was time to stop pretending when Anko responded, spare me your speeches, Kakashi. I cannot be betraying Konoha if I'm protecting one of its citizens. He noticed that Haku was also done. Kakashi's gaze grew strained. This is Zabuza Momochi, an assassin from Mist Village. Surely you don't believe he is from Konoha, much less a citizen. Oh, but I am, Kakashi, said Zabuza as he obtained the citizenship papers. You see, I got this pretty little documents that tell that I'm an honorary citizen of Konoha, who will report to the Hokage to get his rank once in the village. Kakashi was surprised. He was unable to form a complete sentence. What, how, why, but... Oh, stop it, Kakashi, you are only embarrassing yourself further. We contacted the Hokage and he agreed to give Zabuza a chance. Now shut up and get ready, we are about to have a major fight. The fog then dissipated. Gato and 9 Iwa ninja emerged on the opposite side. Gato said in a very annoying tone, so you betrayed me, Zabuza. As he got ready, Zabuza remarked, from the look of things, you are doing the same thing, Gato. Since they were aware of the animosity between Iwa and Konoha shinobi, the others followed suit. You will die, Konoha scum, shouted the Iwa ninja leader. Gato faced them. Gato screamed as he fled, kill them all, and the money I promised is yours. There was going to be a bigger fight, alongside Naruto. Naruto said, okay, girls, go do your thing. Viper questioned, are you sure you will be alright? Hikari replied, yeah, one of us can go with you. Naruto reassured him, nah, I can handle it. Therefore, Viper and Hikari left Naruto without saying anything more. A gigantic shuriken charged at him as he was making his way to the mansion. He leapt to his feet and raised his head. He noticed a man staring at him while wearing an Iwa headband. Naruto shouted, who the fuck are you? The other person chuckled. Kid, I'm Daisuke Iwasan, Junin of Iwa. And I'm going to beat the crap out of you. Daisuke and Naruto exchanged tense glances. Nobody made a move as they both looked at each other intently, searching for something to use against the other. The two then charged at one another and started a taijutsu battle as if an invisible gong had been struck. Daisuke caught Naruto's wrist when he attempted to punch him. Daisuke was sent back a few steps, though, as Naruto used his flexibility to twist himself and land both of his feet on his face before he could do anything. Naruto charged at Daisuke as he was getting his bearings and repeatedly struck him in the stomach before giving him a spinning kick to the face. A few feet from Naruto, Daisuke collapsed to the ground. To put some distance between himself and the little devil, he stood up and leapt back. Yup, I keep forgetting taijutsu is my weak spot. Still, to be so easily kicked by a genin, I really need to start correcting my mistake. Daisuke made some hand signals as Naruto began to run in his direction. Earth style, Earth Javelin Jutsu. A massive javelin materialized on his hand as he spoke. He hurried to Naruto, putting his trust in his weapon, and said, yup, I always was better when I had a weapon in my hands. Naruto had to jump as he swung the blade in his direction after taking a step to the left to avoid the javelin. Naruto trusted his hands forward, high in the air, serpent hand. 10 serpents emerged from Naruto's sleeves, shocking Daisuke. Before the 5 snakes could bite him, he began spinning his javelin. Naruto became enraged because he saw them being killed. In that way, even though he knew they were okay and had just returned to the summoning world, he made the decision to frighten the Junin even more as he hit the ground. He shouted, making hand gestures, plasma style, plasma volleys jutsu. 5 balls of what appeared to be liquid fire raced toward Daisuke, shocking him once more. He was able to defend 3, but 2 of them struck his knee and shoulder, respectively. He screamed, claiming that even though he had been burned before, this was the worst burn he had ever experienced. He felt as though it both shocked and burned him. What the hell? The element of plasma? Does he possess any kind of inherited power? Whatever it is, I need to figure out how to protect myself from it because it's swift and lethal. As soon as he finished speaking, Naruto got ready to strike once more. He yelled, Earth Style, Mud Wall Jutsu, and Plasma Style, Plasma Volleys Jutsu, while making his own hand signals. The wall melted away as fast as it had formed when the volleys struck it. Daisuke was unable to do anything but gaze. Kid, that is one nasty element you have there. Makes me wish you were a missing nin, so I could take you under my wing. You are a missing nin? Then why don't you have a slash in your headband? Replied Naruto. Daisuke chuckled. Because that way, I can steal the work of my hometown. I just go to a place, say that I was the shinobi sent to deal with stuff, get the job done and get out before the team from Iwa gets there. Simple and effective. Besides, I like the headband. Subsequently, he performed additional hand signals and exclaimed, Earth Style, Rock Throw Jutsu. Rocks began to levitate and fly in Naruto's direction. One scratched Naruto's shoulder, but he avoided most of them. Naruto decided to counter jutsu with jutsu, taking a cue from Daisuke as he got ready to do it once more. Both shouted, Earth Style, Rock Throw Jutsu, and Wind Style, Great Breakthrough, while making the hand signals. The rocks were carried away by the enormous gust of wind. Daisuke whistled once more. Damn, kid. I think I underestimated you. You are certainly no genin, if your repertoire of jutsu is anything to go by. I guess I have to get serious or I will be in the end of an ass whopping. Naruto's eyes narrowed. What is his plan? He talks too much. He has only demonstrated C and B rank jutsus thus far. He seems to be attempting to amuse me. Fuck, in an instant, Naruto turned and deflected a stone javelin blow with a kunai. Another Daisuke stood with it. Then Naruto leapt back and made some hand signals before the other Daisuke could react. Fire Style, Fire Dragon Jutsu. Naruto witnessed the most incredible thing happen as the fire dragon struck its target. Daisuke crumbled into the ground. Naruto wondered, what the, when he noticed that the other Daisuke was still present. Daisuke chuckled. Confused. It's one of my prized techniques, the Earth Clone. Although I will admit, your fire dragon is impressively strong to be able to destroy my clone with just one jutsu. Naruto became enraged. By constantly complimenting his opponent, this guy makes himself appear weak, but I'm sure he's just waiting for me to underestimate him so he can quickly kill me. Since I need to step it up a notch, I hope the others are doing better. Naruto then adopted the smart fire fist fighting style, his fists blazing with chakra. You have forced me to use this. Get ready, you are going to face my full power, he said, turning to Daisuke. On the bridge after slicing another adversary in half, Zabuza pulled a kunai from his pocket to protect himself from another ninja. The ninja pushed him back, and he became enraged. Enko and he were now back.to. Back. 3 down, 6 left. This can be troublesome. Enko gave a nod. Enko threw her hands at a Junin who ducked from the snakes that approached him, saying, Haku and Sai are both dealing with the same guy, since alone they are no match for these ninja. Sakura is yelling her head out back there. Sasuke is out, and Kakashi is preparing his Reikiri. Still, we are hard-pressed to win. As he shoved his opponent away and made some one-handed hand signals, Zabuza said, Hi, but still, we are lucky with our opponents, you know. Because these guys are just puny little wimps ready to be killed by their superiors. Watch and learn, baby. Water Style, Giant Vortex Jutsu. The Iwa Junin made some hand gestures and yelled, Earth Style, Mud Wall, as a massive vortex developed. A mud wall was in front of the vortex. But Zabuza's jutsu was stronger and completely destroyed the enemy ninja. Zabuza grinned. Oh yeah, I'm still game. A snake emerged from the ground and sprinted in the direction of another ninja as Anko yelled, That is all? Watch this, baby demon, and learn with the true master. Secret technique. Suicidal snake jutsu. Millions of explosive tags covering the snake's body shined and exploded as it approached, causing the enemy to blow into pieces and the snake to puff. Kakashi yelled, Don't forget about me, Reikiri, as he put his hand through another person's chest, instantly killing him. Sorry dude, hers was way cooler than yours. She wins, Zabuza said after glancing at him, Anko, and Kakashi. One of the enemy ninjas made some hand signals and declared, If you guys done talking, we will start getting serious. Earth Style. Spike Graveyard Jutsu. The bridge was then covered in spikes. This was witnessed by Haku and Sai. But they were so absorbed in the spectacle that they neglected their own opponent. But Sai saw the attack coming and positioned himself in front of Haku, taking a blow to the stomach that would have caressed her if he hadn't moved. Haku saw what had happened as he fell and yelled, "Ice style! Crystal ice needles!" in a fluid motion. Various ice needles then flew in the direction of the ninja who had attacked them. Then she approached Sai. "Are you okay?" he inquired. "Yeah, you should be worried about yourself. You are wounded." Haku replied with concern. Sai said, "It is nothing. Why did you do this?" I don't know. My body just moved." Sai then fainted. Then Haku turned to face the final ninja. At least she could protect Sai, even though she knew she couldn't defeat him. "I won't allow him to kill you, Sai, so hold on." Alongside Gato, when Gato saw his ninjas defeat the Zabuza and the Leaf Ninja, he grinned. Every mercenary, bandit, and croc he had ordered stood behind him, prepared to destroy what was left of the battle. The others cheered as Gato said, "Okay boys, kill the Iwa shinobi when Zabuza and the others are done, and then we will rule this wretched country." If only they were aware that they were being observed. "Ready, Hikari?" Viper muttered. "Ready." A chant and a double shout of summoning jutsu were the only warning the thugs had before being swallowed up by a massive cloud of smoke. Gato peered around, his vision obscured by the smoke. Then screams. The screams are the worst. He heard burning sounds as well as unfamiliar ones. He then noticed two pairs of eyes as the smoke cleared. One belonged to a giant serpent and was yellow and slit like. The other was red, slit like, and belonged to a six-tailed fox that was just as large. With a glance at the quivering Gato, Shidung said, well, dear Kaisei. Look what we got here." "A sweaty pig, trembling over the mud?" Kaisei asked, sounding enraged, until she drew nearer and her snarling, predatory smile became visible. "My favorite dish. W. 8. I can give you guys whatever you want. Money, women, men, whatever, just spare me," Gato begged. Shidung considered it. "Now see here, I don't need money, and I have a lovely wife. So no to the first two. To the last one, seriously, you are sick. What do you think, Kaisei?" Kaisei quickly grabbed Gato off the ground, crunched him, and swallowed. "I'm sorry, Shidung, what sis you said?" Shidung shocked her friend's head as she glanced at him. "Really, did you just had to eat him like that?" "What, we still have enough with these mercenaries," replied Kaisei. Shidung destroyed the mercenaries' army completely, saying, "I suppose you were right. Come on, children. Time to play." On the bridge the final Iwa shinobi grinned. Even if the two brats had taken care of his partner, he had already rendered Haku unconscious, and the enemy Junins were dead. He had to admit that the bitch put up a fierce fight, but he was still a Junin, so he prevailed. Just as he was about to receive his prize, a hand sprang up from the floor and seized him while shouting, "Earth style! Headhunter jutsu!" Before he could say anything, he found himself with his head over the bridge and the rest hanging below. When he looked up, Kakashi emerged from the floor with a puzzled smile. "You really though that killed us? Don't be a fool, Reikiri." The man was dead after that. His face was completely messed up. "How are you? And the others?" he asked, glancing over his shoulder to where the others were emerging from among the spikes. Anko held Sai and said, "Good, just Peachy here. Sai just passed out. Haku is okay, she is going to be fine. As for me, couldn't be better," Zabuza replied. Anko then approached Kakashi and threw Sai into his embrace. Kakashi shouted, "Hey," at the humiliation. "I'm still leader of this mission and I say you carry him," said Anko. Kakashi exclaimed, "What about Gato? We should go after him." "Don't worry, Kakashi. Gato is being taken care of," said Anko. "First, we will leave the Genins in Tazuna's house, then see if the others need help," she said, turning to Zabuza. With a nod, Zabuza and Tazuna strolled towards Tazuna's residence. Then Sakura shouted, "Hey, what about Sasuke-kun?" "Oh yeah, I knew I was forgetting something. Just take him yourself. Isn't it like one of your biggest dreams? To hold him or him to hold you? Whatever, you deal with him. Not my problem." And with that, Anko left the room. Sakura clutched her cherished Sasuke and struggled to follow her. Sasuke was a light guy, but who said that? Alongside Naruto became enraged. He was becoming weary of this. Daisuke created numerous mud clones as soon as he declared his full power. With clones all over the place, Naruto created an even larger army of shadow clones and a full-scale conflict broke out. The War of Clones had started. It appeared to be a dance of flames with clones jumping, fighting, kicking, and being destroyed everywhere, all enhanced by the fire of Naruto's fighting style. But Naruto did not find this amusing. The real Daisuke was hiding from Naruto by posing as a clone somewhere amid the flames, smoke, and clones. Because of this, Naruto had a hard time finding him, and he was growing impatient. At that point, Naruto made the decision to stop the act. After a few hand signals, fire style, fox fire jutsu. 10 foxes of fire appeared as he was saying that. As they began to run in the direction of the clones, they all exploded, creating columns of flame. Naruto was exhausted and breathing heavily, but as he was about to collapse, 2 enormous lizard creatures materialized and the ground trembled beneath him. "What the?" Naruto screamed. As one of the lizards trampled Naruto, Daisuke yelled, "Didn't I mention I had a summoning? Guess not. Anyway, you die, little one." But while doing so, Naruto took a puff. Wait, if that was a shadow clone, summoning jutsu. When Daisuke turned around, he saw 3 snakes. "I am almost out of chakra. Help me," Naruto exclaimed, pointing to the lizards. Wraithomantis yelled, "Burning Fang," and bit into the lizard after the 3 nodded. All over his body, the lizard began to twist as it experienced liquid pain. Ayakos yelled, "Poison of nightmares," and spat a glob of poison in the direction of the lizard's head as the poor creature went out like light. As the lizard gripped his head, he began to have nightmares. He also went puffing. Now, when the final snake approached Daisuke, he shuddered. After that, Daisuke yelled, "Hey, come on, take it easy. I was just following orders. Mercy." Minnows approached and spoke in a soothing voice that could soothe even the most furious animals and inspire hope in the most hopeless men. "It's all right, no one is going to touch you. Just look at my eyes." Minnows cried out, "Stare of broken will." As soon as he did, and Daisuke's expression changed to one of utter fear. "Oh, please stop. Oh God, forgive me." And other desperation filled cries were among the things he screamed to the heavens in sheer horror. Then he leaned back against the floor and gazed up at the sky, his expression going blank and his eyes completely white. Shocked, Naruto asked, "Is he dead?" "No, child, he just wishes he was. He is alive. His mind, however, is filled with such despair it destroyed itself," explained Minnows. "So, you basically fried his brain and still kept him alive? Remind me not to get on your bad side," replied Naruto. "Keep being a good summoner, and things should be alright," Minnows replied. The 3 snakes vanished after that. Then Naruto let out a sigh. He dashed into the house, saying, "Right, let's end with this." With the others, including Enko, the group had just arrived at the residence. Kakashi questioned, "Where is Naruto? Shouldn't he be guarding the house?" Since Naruto was not present. Enko shouted, "He is busy, Kakashi. He is doing his part of the plan." "What plan? You have been keeping too much from me, Enko. I demand you tell me everything now." Zabuza struck him in the neck as he was shouting that, knocking him out cold. Then he turned to face Enko, saying, "Let's see what has taken the kid so long." Enko grinned. They ran towards Gato's house, leaving a banshee yelling, "Where are you going? This guys need help." As they continued to run. "You do have a way to deal with problems, Zabuza. I like it," they began. They came upon Hikari and Viper en route. Enko. "Sensei, we were just done over there, no more thugs." "Good job, now let's see what happened with Naruto." When they eventually arrived at the location of Naruto's fight, they were horrified, with the exception of Viper, who remarked, "This is the work of Minnows. Damn, I wish he would teach me that." Zabuza replied, "That is Daisuke Iwasan. One of the newest additions to the bingo book. What the hell happened to him? His will was broken," Viper exclaimed, drawing everyone's attention. "Minnows is the king of despair, because his stare alone could cause you so much despair, your mind dies and your will breaks. He is still alive, just mind dead." Zabuza's gaze grew wide. "I see now why you want to learn it, but then, where is the kid?" They strolled over to the nearby house, where Enko said, "Probably in there, seeing what he can find." Many women ran past them as they did so, shouting, "We are finally free." Zabuza became enraged. He must have kept them here for his own entertainment, that sick bastard. Enko went inside and said, "Not now, Zabuza, let's just go in there." They eventually located Naruto, but it took some time. "I have all the money in the scroll. We can spread it for the villagers. This are also the last prisoners. Let's just get out of here," he said, accompanied by a man. They all gave a nod and departed. "Where were these guys?" Zabuza asked as they emerged. With a shudder, Naruto replied, "In Gato's bedroom, in a cell." In an attempt to shake the unsettling vision from their minds, everyone froze, shuddered, and then left. The mental scar wasn't necessary for them. After a few days as they prepared to depart, everyone gathered on the bridge. Kakashi, who was still a little annoyed that they had excluded him from their plans, had been given an explanation. After attempting to murder Hiku the previous day, Sasuke was restrained and unconscious. No jutsu flashback, they were all seated to eat. Now that he had recovered, Sasuke was scowling at Hiku. Initially ignoring him, Haku's adamant glare made the task impossible. Okay, what the hell is wrong with you? Hiku asked, turning around. You are the enemy and shouldn't be here. In addition, you defeated me. I promise to make amends for that error. You know exactly what's wrong. Sasuke, we are no longer enemies, Hiku sighed. You should stop treating me that way now that we are allies. Anko already told you. Furthermore, why do you think you can defeat me again when I defeated you quite easily? Sakura began yelling, what are you doing? As Sasuke, enraged, leapt over the table with the intention of killing Hiku with a kunai he had in his head. Anko then came up behind him and chopped his neck. You can't treat Sasuke-kun that way. Haruno-san, I'll also put you in restraints if you scream once more, I've warned him too many times, Anko screamed. It's time for him to feel what he really deserves. If you mess with us, I'll end your career as a ninja and your life as a woman. You hear me? A furious Anko shouted. As her love was bound and a suppression seal was placed around his neck, Sakura made the wise decision to remain silent. No jutsu flashback. Kai thus, as they passed through the crowds, saying goodbye to each other while Kakashi carried the waist-weight Sasuke, the people continued to say, thank you. And, may God bless you all. As they strolled, Inari remarked, Naruto.ni, I will miss you. Gazing at Inari's face, Naruto grinned despite his attempts to contain his tears. It's okay, you can cry, Inari. Inari exclaimed, then you can too, Oni.san. Me. I don't need to cry. Naruto exclaimed as he turned away. He had a tear in his eyes, though, if one were to look. Viper and Hikari laughed when they saw it. Anko shouted, okay, kids, time to go, as they all marched off. Wait. What are we going to call the bridge? Exclaimed Inari as they proceeded. As he approached the covered sign, Tazuna remarked, ahead of you already, Inari. An image of Naruto, Anko, Hikari, Viper, Zabuza, Hiku, Kakashi, and Sai appeared as he pulled, each striking a unique pose. Below it, it read, The Great Heroes Bridge. In the name of the heroes of Wave. We will never forget you. The name caused everyone to cheer. The ninja watched in the woods. Hey, why aren't Mor Sasuke there? Screamed Sakura. Sai continued, quickly, 1. You were annoying. 2. Both of you were useless and did nothing productive in the mission. 3. You always complain about everything and everyone. 4. Your voice could kill someone just from hear it and you were always screaming. Hiku kept going. 6. You don't care about others. Do you really want us to continue? Sai turned to Hiku as Sakura was abandoned, her mouth hanging. I think I like you. It is very confusing as I have been trained to feel no emotion, yet, the way you speak and act is appealing, I can't describe. Hiku gave Sai a startled look before grinning. I too was trained to have less emotions possible. Maybe I can help you. Besides, Hiku sighed. I do like you too. Sai gave her a look before grinning. Thank you, I will do my best to make you happy. Zabuza shouted, you better, from behind him, his sword poised to split him in two. Or I will kill you. Zabuza turned and saw Naruto with a kunai in his hand. The threat goes to you too. Zabuza.san. Zabuza exclaimed. You treat Anko. Kassen or Miko. Kassen bad, you die. Anko gave a headshake. Boys, they always think we need them to defend us. Hiku laughed. Then Viper turned to face Anko and said, that means they care about us, Anko. Sensei. Hikari's comment caused the others to nod and laugh. Yeah, and they can be pretty entertaining when they really get into it, trying to act all high and mighty towards one another. It's like a rooster fight, only much more unpredictable and fun, she said. As the tension subsided, Naruto said, okay guys. To Konoha, for ramen. You wished, first candy. Exclaimed Hikari. Anko demanded, oh no, I am team leader and I say dango. Don't even try it. We will go to barbecue and that is final. Replied Viper. Abruptly, they began fighting, and chaos ensued. After looking shocked, Zabuza burst out laughing. At least with them things don't get boring. I knew I had chosen the right side.
That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this great story. See you in the next one.